How about, yep, now we got sound. Now we should have sound. Alright. Had to change some settings, and when I changed the cam, it for some reason changed my audio settings also at the same time. So that actually should be the last thing, and I think I got everything worked out on this. Holy. I think it's running good. Should be. YouTube's looking good. I think it's running good. Should be. YouTube's looking good. I think I need to check one more thing. Hold on 1 second. You want on air? Maybe not. Alright. I thought Crash was calling in. I don't know why he hung up. I had a pretty shitty start to the show. I know the sound's a little bit off because I think the sound on my cam needs to be turned off. I gotta figure out how to do that. And I forget how to do that. Camera. Video. Alright. Dang it, I can't remember. Hopefully that changed it a little bit for the better. So, alright, we're going to get on the show. I don't know. Alright. I think I got all the bugs worked out. I think I do. Why isn't this? Alright, let's take to it. Hold on. You there? Dean? Dean! Are you there, Crash? The hell? I don't know what the heck's going on. Something's weird going on. Every time I think I got everything worked out, something new's come up. Murphy's Law. So, I'm being told it sounds good on that end. Every time I think I got everything worked out, something new's come up. Murphy's Law. And why? So, I'm being told it sounds good on that end. Every time I think I got everything worked out, something new's come up. Murphy's Law. So, I'm being told it sounds... It just doesn't sound right to me. And then I got Crash trying to call in, and he's hanging up. He's not getting through. So, that's all weird. My damn headset. Let's try it again. Crash, you there? Yemeni Crickets, trying to get you has been a bitch. First you hung up on me, then I answered. Alright, I think we got it though. I think we got it. No, that's fine. That's the normal stuff. And you got a angry liberal wife. means you're going to try to get some. Uh-oh. Alright, well. Uh-oh. Alright, we're gonna go on with a couple things and wait for Ding Dong to get back, and when he gets back, we're gonna give him the floor for a little bit. It's been a little while since he's been able to call in and bitch and moan about what he has to bitch and moan about, which is usually pretty good. Fat bastard. You fat bastard. You got some stuff you said you wanted to rant about. I'm going to give you the floor and let you go. Alright, dude, I just got the second computer back up and running. So I had some little issues when it first started off. So I had to take care of that. No. Damn it. Alright, what is it? Democrat Senator Brown says the government has no business deporting immigrants who have been in the USA for years. Rob. That. I agree, and that's been my question all along. What are you, Yoda now? It's ridiculous. I don't care how long you've been in here. If you're here illegally, bye-bye. Yeah, it's... Well, it's actually been down. Illegal immigration's been down big time over the last... Oh yeah, I reported on that last week. Oh, that's been fucking funny as hell. Quebec is spending $2.5 million a month on immigrants, on welfare. Well, you go there, you get a lot of free money. You get a lot of free money from Canada. Oh, the citizens. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, and it... Well, yeah, I agree. It's just... I know. It's... I mean, I was talking to someone I know from Canada, from a game, and she said she gets a stipend for her house payment, utility bill, and then for shopping also. I'm like, what the fuck? She's a regular citizen of Canada. That shit pisses me off. Well, we had our EMT mom. Well, we had our EMT mom, and you know who I'm talking about. And she was, when her husband left her, she was on welfare. Because she was a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids. And she went through school and everything. She got her LPN, and after that, she went on to, become a nurse and got off of it. That's what they're supposed to do.
Well, it's meant to be a stopgap.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be a permanent solution.
Oh,
that's the thing.
It's fucking ridiculous is what it is. Oh, here's something for you. Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said over criticism from President Obama the failure to replace Obamacare, saying, "Welcome to the democratic process." So governing is challenging from time to time. A lot of people look at all that and find it frustrating, messy. Well, welcome to the democratic process. That is the way it is in our country, and it has been that way from the beginning. And the only reason people are so focused on it now is the 24-hour cable news and internet, which is a very big bullshit statement because it was never this bad before. They are fighting.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, everybody keeps touting the and I know, and I did fall trap to this too, but everybody keeps saying, democratic process, democratic process, democratic process. This is a democracy. This is a democracy. Wasn't when we were founded, when the United States of America was founded, and Benjamin Franklin walked out, didn't he say we had a republic if we could keep it?
Yep. We don't have a democracy. We're not a democracy.
This was never meant to be. Our elected officials turned it into. They've been slowly converting a republic into a democracy. The problem is, the democracy is what's causing all these problems. When we were truly a republic 100 years ago...
Well, it's not even that. What's going on is we have a bunch of establishments, and the establishment is Republican and Democrat together, and they don't like that an outsider got elected president, so they're doing everything they can to stall his progress. They don't want him to be successful. And they're working hand in hand and doing everything they can to screw his presidency. And that's why our republic is not working, because he could have gotten those votes. He could have got those votes.
But in all honesty, our republic hasn't been working for a long time.
No.
I mean, in all reality, it really hasn't. I mean, just the simple fact that Obama pulled the "I've got a pen and a phone" and issued more executive orders than combined presidents in recent history shows that this hasn't been working, because there's no way all that shit should have gone through. That stuff should have been stoppable.
Well, also with
building, this isn't a new problem.
Tell me about it. McConnell could have gotten that repeal through, because all he had to do was threaten those senators that if they didn't vote to repeal, number one, they wouldn't get any help from the RNC on any campaigning, and second, they would be yanked off of their committees. And that's what Democrats do. That that's how leadership gets the votes and forces some of these people into votes. Or, okay, if you vote, you're going to get the leadership of this committee. There's bargaining behind closed doors. He didn't want a repeal. Mitch McConnell doesn't want to do anything. And what pisses me off is you had McCain, who campaigned and stole money from the American people. And what did he campaign on? Repeal Obamacare.
Yeah. So agreed.
We got to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be bitching some more about American politics. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media with special guest Crash and HB Pundit. We will be right back.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplains.dailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cow for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and we got a special guest. Douchebag Crash is with us. What's up, bud?
My blood pressure.
Oh, that's normal. Your blood pressure is going to go higher in a second.
Oh, shit. Here There we go.
Well, we're going to start off this conversation with, did you know that the mayor of Berkeley is part of, on Facebook and other things?
There we go.
Are you chewing gum?
Trash bag.
The
Trash bag. Yeah, that didn't sound quite right.
The mayor of Berkeley is liking and is part of groups on Facebook for Antifa, any means
Any means necessary.
Yeah, another one, BAM, which I forget what that one stands for.
No, that's BAM is by any means necessary.
Duh.
It's BAMN.
I couldn't think of it off the top of my head. Thanks.
That's because you suck with acronyms.
Yeah.
You
So
scored higher on the exams, just saying.
The mayor of Berkeley, and Berkeley is known as the epicenter of the free speech movement during the 60s.
In the 60s. Now they're going to be the death of it.
Well, he is now urging a university to cancel plans by a conservative group for a free speech week in September.
Not surprised.
Because Antifa is violent, so they can't speak at a function of free speech.
Yeah, because what's going to happen is what we saw this past weekend. You had people from the left and the right show up, all peacefully protesting. Antifa shows up with weapons and shields and everything else, looking for a fight. The cops were doing everything they could, but as soon as somebody broached that barrier, they were giving the order, stand down, let them through. And a bunch of people got their ass kicked, and for the first time in 2 years, even the liberal media reported, oh, fuck.
Oh, it gets better.
So now it's, oh, wow, there's going to be violence. We can't have this. Hey, guess what? There always was. You just didn't care when you always had the positive press. Now you're getting the negative press.
Nancy Pelosi condemned Antifa.
Oh, that's surprising.
Oh, no, she's been getting hammered in the press. A lot of them been getting hammered in the press because conservative groups, and I'll admit with one of my Facebook groups that I am for Hillsborough County Republican, there was the discussion about the what?
I'm gonna call right back.
All right. One of the things that I brought up was to call your senators, call your House of Representatives, call them, and mandate that they condemn Antifa for their violence in a public forum. Keep calling them every day. Now, you don't scream, you don't cuss, you don't, threaten. You call up, I'm a citizen, I'm in your district, I want to know, do you condemn, and will you go out and go on camera and condemn them outright? Put them out there in the spotlight. Stop letting Antifa have this free reign. Because if these politicians keep going out there and condemning them, the media is not going to be able to cover up for them. And it's going to stop this violence sooner or later. Because you're going to start getting politicians, whether local mayors and everything, that are not going to want to cover up because they know they're going to get thrown under the bus real quick. Oh. So, I mean, and that's what I suggest. Sorry about that yawn I had there. I suggest that you call your local representatives and keep calling them. And again, be respectful, but keep going after them. Tell them that you want them to condemn these actions. There's no reason why we cannot have a free speech week at a university. There is no reason it should be canceled because of threats of violence from the left. And if there is going to get shut down, that we need to have it in the public that it is because of Antifa, because of the alt-left and their violence and anti-Constitution actions, their anti-American actions. Now, the mayor told the San Francisco Chronicle Monday he didn't want the University of California, Berkeley, being used as a punching bag in the wake of Antifa members' attack on conservative demonstrators. How about this? You have your police force do their fucking job. Don't have them standing down. Have them do their job. Oh, these headsets are going to go out the window in a minute. I know nobody can see it, but I'm sitting here. They keep one side keeps kicking out. The right ear will stop, and it's the connector. So I got to spin it slightly, and oh. Ah, crap. Wrong button. We can't have this. People are being silenced just because they don't like what they have to say. That is not how it works, people. That is not how things go. A conservative campus group called the Berkeley Patriot is set to host controversial author Milo during its scheduled Free Speech Week from September 24th through the 27th. The last time Milo came to the university, his event was canceled because of violence on the campus. What's up, Crash? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that.
No problem. We know how it is.
Yeah, for those of you that are this was something very specific. For those of you that are unfamiliar with New Jersey's driving regulations, if you're under the age of 18, you have a Cinderella license, meaning you've got a curfew. You can only have so many people in the vehicle at a time, unless the parent, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. Other than the fact that my daughter completely ditched out on her chores and any attitude, she spun out of here real quick, and I counted what appeared to be 4 heads in her little sedan, which is way more than the one she's legally allowed. After she gave me a ration of shit over the weekend, because I asked her to drive her sister and somebody else up the street. But she's going to go 2 towns over. Oh, and that's after she told us what she's going to do. Didn't ask. No asking. No, this is what I will do. What she's getting ready to be told is this is what Dad will do. You're not paying for your cell phone. Turned off. You're not paying for your car insurance. Canceled. Oh, wait, the car's in my name. Do you know how to reinstall spark plugs? No, that's right. You never paid attention when I was working on a car. I hope you've got some decent shoes.
Get some retreads on those shoes.
She got all pissed off at me because I told her to that fall's coming. You know, we're getting close to winter, and she has to make sure that she tops off her blinker fluid. Her blinker light fluid has to be topped off before winter. I've actually come up with the thing that all maintenance on her car now, if it requires a fluid, it needs to be charged. If it's electrical, it needs fluid. And then I'm going to really fuck with her with lead-acid batteries that are both.
Well, did you see the Facebook thing where the mother sends the kid into like the Napa store or Advanced Auto and told the kid to ask him for blinker fluid? And she films it as the kid comes out covering his face all pissed off. The guy told me I was being messed with. There's no such thing.
See, the problem is the only one of my kids that would fall for that is my oldest, and her boyfriend ratted me out. So I flat out told him, I said, you're no longer welcome here. What did I do? I said, you stopped me from having my fun.
Oh.
He's like, okay, well, how can I fix it? Make a choice.
Make a choice.
20 gauge or 243 Winchester. You choose. Either way, I get to have fun.
Birdshot or rock salt?
And I didn't even give him that choice.
I think I'll take the birdshot over the rock salt. Oh. Well,
you know, that's going to depend on range.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would depend on range. With me. Honestly, if I had to choose between between a single penetrating wound or a crap load of fucking bullets, pellets getting dug out from my subdural layer, I'd rather just take the one fucking channel
Exactly.
wound. I mean, I'd rather get the 243. Because unless you've got really good fucking aim, I've got a pretty good survival rate. That's just me.
All right. Well, the mayor says that.
What's up, baby girl?
It's absolutely.
When I come in, I'll take a look at it.
It's absolutely a joke. But when asked during a interview if it was fair for a conservative group to cancel its event when recent violence was caused by left-wing actors, the mayor said his concerns has nothing to do with the content of the speech. If there was a far-left speaker that was coming to Berkeley who he knew would draw extremist groups to clash, I would express the same concerns, which is bullshit.
The Berkeley a-hole? No.
Well, the mayor saying, well, if it was a left-wing speaker and there was threats of violence, I would still have it shut down. No, he wouldn't. He'd be calling in more police to threaten.
No, if the left wants to speak, they're fully... No, but see, here's the thing. He's shutting it down.
No, well, he wants it shut down. He's asking for it to shut down. And the school official said, the school official said that UC Berkeley wasn't the one extending the invitation and doesn't have the right to interfere with or cancel invitations based on the perspective and beliefs of the speakers. So,
but see, here's the false narrative. This is the false narrative. He does not want conservative viewpoints being expressed. He wants those shut down by any means necessary. Okay, that's essentially the whole MO of anything Antifa. So here's where the false narrative comes in. They're saying that, if there was going to be violence with a left-sided gathering, I would shut that down. The difference is, when the left comes out for a rally, you don't have a bunch of right-wingers showing up with baseball bats and shields, bum-rushing the police and assaulting innocent civilians, burning things, destroying property. So the whole premise is they'll shut it down if there's a threat of violence. Well, when the left speaks, there isn't a threat of violence because we don't do that. We don't use fascist tactics. The anti-fascists use fascist tactics against the individuals who do not.
Well,
use
they are fascists.
But that's where it's the false narrative. I mean, they're trying to make it look like it's all or not.
Well, pretty much anything the left does, they say the opposite, than what they're doing. They say they're for the minorities, and they screw the minorities over.
The whole freaking generation spent way too much time watching those two magicians in Vegas. The whole sleight of hand thing. We're going to say one thing while we do another. It's very impressive in a magician act. It's very entertaining for show.
Well, here's a question for you.
Not fucking politics.
What would happen if there was a left-wing group and a left-wing black guy was talking to the crowd and a right-winger conservative snuck up behind him and punched him in his head and knocked him out? What would happen?
Oh, Christ. It'd be pile on the rabbit. The guy that did the sucker punch, everybody that piled on the rabbit, that would all be self-defense. The guy that did the sucker punching would be charged with a hate crime. Probably attempted murder. You forget assault and battery. It'd probably be attempted murder. The guy would be going away.
DOJ would be involved. It'd be federal.
And there'd be a whole. The NAACP would be involved. There'd be lawsuits. There'd be this, that, and the other thing. It could happen in California.
CNN interviews out the ass.
I'd be getting sued for my house in New Jersey because at one point in my family's history, somebody in my family didn't offer a drink of water to somebody in his family. That's some other fucked up bullshit narrative.
Now, what the fucked up thing is, it actually just happened the other way around, where a black guy got sucker punched by a white guy, and the black guy was a conservative, and the white guy, was a liberal at one of these Antifa groups.
And no hate crime.
No hate crime. He has been arrested and charged with assault. And I think he's gotten a couple other charges related to, riot violence and all that, but nothing hate crime. And even the guy that got sucker punched, is bitching. If this was the other way around,
Here's the question. Here's the question I would love to have answered. Okay, BLM has openly stated numerous times, not so much recently, but last year, that they're essentially the rebirth of, they are the reincarnation, they took their roots from the Black Panther Party. Okay, their heroes are the bitch that killed the state trooper in New Jersey, who is still living free in Cuba. Thank you very much, Barack Obama. I would love it if Trump could fix that. The problem is, I know it can't be fixed at this point because, but in any case, I'm sorry, if you are nothing more, if your organization is nothing more than a renaming of an organization that was already labeled a terroristic organization, a domestic terrorist organization, then by carryover in definition, you are a domestic terrorist organization. You assault somebody, that is an act of terrorism on top of everything else. I'm sorry, I thought we were in a war on terror. I thought Obama put an end to the war on terror. You know what? Charge them as fucking terrorists, send their asses to Gitmo, and hey, guess what? Maybe they'll fucking learn a thing or two. But you know what? Let the Marines have at them while they're stomping on flags. And
well, you know what? Let's go back to the 60s. Let's go back to the 60s. When these guys get in trouble, now you have a choice. You can go to jail, or you can join the military.
Oh, I would love it if they did that again. Send them all to fucking North Korea.
Listen, we got to hit a break.
That'd be beautiful.
We got to hit a break, and we'll come right back. And I got another one I think you'll like. That this one comes from Salon. But you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with special guest Crash right here on SHR and High Plains Pundit Radio. We will be right back.
I've actually got something I want to touch on.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on SHRmedia.com and HighPlainsDailyNews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cap for the stupid program.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense with your host, Jersey Joe, trying to make sense out of senseless and with a special guest, Crash. Don't forget, coming up at 11 o'clock, that's 8 o'clock on the left coast, it will be the Sackheads radio show, hosted by Sackhead Clint, Sackhead Sean, and BZ. What was that?
I said Pacific Coast. I was trying to help you out.
Oh. Well, my daughter went to tell my wife the other day that she needed to be specific, and she said she needs to be Pacific. So I looked at her, I said, your mother needs to be an ocean? And she looked at me like, what?
Man, if your wife was overweight, that would have gone all types of south.
I know.
Real fast. Just saying.
Oh, but she's like, what? I was like, hey, hon, she wants you to be an ocean. Shut up. Dad. So real quick, before you get on your topic, my daughter comes home today, and this year she has gym. And she has to change. So
in front of gym?
What?
I'd be having issues with that as a father.
What?
If she has to change with gym?
No.
If she has to change with gym. I don't care what gym I've been
I'm sorry, PE.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but she comes home with her gym shorts on under her jean shorts. Guess why?
Jim identified as a girl? No.
No, she's just embarrassed to change. All the girls. No, I can't go in the bathroom to change. It's like
well, you know what the thing was? The thing is, and all, I mean, just tell your daughter this. Just tell her that, you know, her uncle, he was very embarrassed to change in front of the other guys until he just figured out a trick that helped. He installed a spring-loaded magnifying glass, and when he opened up his locker, it placed it right in front of him, so he looked like the biggest guy in the locker room. Just saying. Got me over.
But it was just funny. It just the second time she came home, and I was like, all right, enough. Because she was like, oh, I forgot to change. I was like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Oh, I know. You're embarrassed, weren't you? Yeah. It's normal. It's the first time that she's had to go in a gym room. Yeah, I had an issue, too. I had trouble with that.
Everybody did.
Yeah.
Everybody did. I mean, anybody that says that they didn't, I mean, honestly, I'm more likely to tell you that you're lying than anything else. Because, I mean, whether that issue lasted for months or it lasted for 5 minutes, everybody had that issue of embarrassment. Everybody has it. And that's all there is to it. I mean, it's just the difference is how long does it last and how do you deal with it, cope with it, and get over it. That's all it comes down to. And to anybody that wants to make fun of you, well, talk to your dad. He knows a few maneuvers that'll put them in their place.
Well, that's the thing. We told her, anybody says anything, then you come talk to us. We'll talk to the school, and the school will make sure that it's stopped. So,
what are you living in a liberal state? You're going to talk to the school? Yeah.
All right, you have a subject you want to talk about.
Actually, I got 2 things now because you decided that you had to do a whole promotional thing for Sackhead show.
I always do every Wednesday. I got to be a good
Okay,
dog.
now, do our listeners even know where they're broadcast from?
Yeah, they know it's coming from the commie state of California, behind enemy lines.
Well, then you know what? I feel that it's my responsibility, okay, as a conservative, to just advise all of our listeners that radio show contains only 50% of the decent things to come out of the state of California. My father and myself are the other 50%.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
I was about to say, I thought you were going to go somewhere negative. I was going to be like, but wait a minute. You're in New Jersey.
No.
You're in New Jersey, which isn't that far behind. I mean, it's kind of like California does something stupid, and New Jersey's like, hold my beer. I can do better.
No, literally, that's the problem. They really are. We're the redneck version of California.
Yeah.
I mean, we really are. I don't get it. I mean, really, we're trying to outdo California and New York. New York is trying to follow in California's footsteps, and we're trying to prove that we can be stupider than both combined.
Yeah. And what's scary is you got a Republican governor, supposed Republican governor.
No. We have a fucking rhino, okay?
Oh, I heard he was sending his beach chair to help and his towel down to Texas to try to help close some bridges down.
I was just going to say that. I was just getting ready to fucking say that before you cut me off. I told my wife that last night. It was liberal. I was like, you know what? I haven't agreed with much that he's done, but he is willing to lend a hand, in the current crisis. She's like, oh crap, what the hell is he doing now? He's grabbing his beach gear. He's close enough to the beach, and he heard they got some bridges that need to be shut down. She just started laughing because you're such a fucking asshole. It's like, yeah, pretty much.
What's funny is Minnow posted something similar.
Actually, I might have stolen it from Minnow, in all honesty.
Probably. All right, go with your topic.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He is like
He's our guru.
Going back to the Star Wars thing, that man's like Yoda.
Yeah, he's Yoda, and yeah, he's the master.
Anyway, okay. So, there's been a lot of protests going on lately, and obviously, all across the nation. And I know I'm sure I haven't been on the show, but you've been focusing, I'm sure, and talking about the Confederacy and the statues and this, that, and the other thing. Well, I want to bring back an oldie but a goodie because he's back in the limelight. Mr. Colin Kaepernick.
Hold up, because there's actually something I've been wanting to ask you. I'm sorry. There's something you're going to like this. You might like this.
Go ahead.
I need to know New Jersey law on knives.
On what?
On knives.
On knives?
Yes.
Like a knife?
Yes, a knife.
You got to be more specific on that than that.
Folding knife, curved blade, and the ones that have the big circle on the end that you put your pinky in and you can spin it to change it around? You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, like Spyderco. They make one like that.
All right. Are they legal in New Jersey?
It's what?
Are they legal in New Jersey, or do you need some kind of funky permit?
No.
Okay.
It's not that. It's the same as having a thumb screw. Instead of a thumb screw, there's a thumb hole. It's just that's the only difference between the two.
Well, I got an extra spring assist one of those. It's not top quality.
Now, spring assist gets into a gray area.
But it's not.
It's not listed. Spring assist is not listed. It's not listed. Okay, like switchblade is listed.
Right.
Gravity knife is listed. A spring. I think it's spring fired or something like that.
Yeah, it's the firing.
It's the fact that you're firing the knife blade out and it leaves
no.
handle. But see, now that's why I say it gets into a gray area. Because really, there's a fine. I mean, the difference between the illegal and the legal is the fact that this is all the things that make those other versions illegal. This one doesn't do. It just combines all the features that make it legal.
Well,
the problem is, depending on where you live, then depends on how the cops are going to look at it. I mean, we had a guy that got arrested just a few years ago for carrying a Leatherman on his
Yeah, you're always going to have those cops. Do you want one or not?
Huh?
Do you want one or not?
Oh, God, yeah.
All right, I'll send it to you. Send it to your house this week.
Yeah, dude.
Now, it's not one of your top, Crenshaw, not Crenshaw, Gerber or any of those. You know, it's a little bit cheaper. It's going to need a sharpening on it, but I got to... Huh?
Dude, I'll take it.
I got a spare one when I ordered one, just to have, for fuck around. And I was like, shit, maybe I'll send it to Dean, but I didn't want to get you in trouble. Now, also, I know how your wife gets sometimes, so...
No, that won't get me in trouble. I've been needing a new pocket carry piece.
I don't know if you want to use this as a pocket.
But
I don't know if you want to use this as a pocket.
What's the blade length?
I think it's a 5-inch. This is something for around your house.
Tool bag.
Yeah.
It's a tool. It goes in my tool bag.
I was just thinking of you, and I've been meaning to ask, and I didn't want to send it if it was illegal. Now that we're talking sending weapons over the air.
But the thing is, we're doing it correctly. I mean, you know what? You wanted to send me something. You wanted to make sure it's legal. No, based on the current laws, that is legal in the communist state of Jersey.
And then you're going to get a good laugh out of this. I have a bunch of knives that have been laying around. I finally ordered some sharpening kits, and I've been sharpening. You ought to see my finger. I've gotten my one finger multiple times now.
You did what?
I've cut my finger multiple times, kind of like sharpening. And it's actually the same piece. I've gotten it twice. I got one of those little, daggers that has the ring finger on it. It's like a push. You wear it as like a necklace. And I was sharpening that, and my thing slipped off, and my finger just touched it, and it cut. I was like, ooh, that's sharp.
Yeah. First of all, two things. First of all, you're a fucking amateur if you're cutting your finger while you're sharpening a fucking knife.
I'm watching TV as I do it.
Second of all, if you're doing a lot of sharpening, I don't know if my dad would kill me for this or not, because he showed me how to do it, using the whetstone and using all the, they're traditional. I mean, that's...
Oh, I got the whetstones. I got the leather strap.
I have all that, and I use it for certain things. But if I'm doing... it all depends on what I'm doing. But honestly, my go-to kit, and I keep adding on to it, I mean, actually, I've got a small 30 cal ammo can that actually is my sharpening kit now. I actually like the Lansky's. The Lansky stone and clamp, because it's got...
I'm going something better.
It's got all the different stones. It's got the clamp with the different angles on it.
Nope.
I mean, it's not the best on the market, but when you're looking at,
no, I'm going to Harbor Freight, $50.
I spent less than $50 for one.
What is it? A 1-inch by 30 belt sander. And then you get the belt. I
don't like using anything. No, I don't like using anything.
That's what the professionals use.
I know. When I was living in Florida, I did that for when I had a garage, actually. I actually had one for sharpening. I did go and do that. I never. I guess my problem was I never developed the feel for it.
See, I'm used to it from doing mechanics and stuff years ago. I'm used to grinder and stuff.
I don't know. I was still more comfortable just doing it by hand. I always have that.
I don't have the patience either.
I sit there and I'm watching TV, or I'm listening to the radio, or I'm just sitting outside enjoying nature, and I just sit there and I sharpen my knives. Yeah.
Sitting outside watching nature, looking like a redneck. Yep. Thing. How you doing, officer? All right, get to your topic now that we've totally blown this whole segment away. We're going to skip over the break, and I'm going to give you the next 15, 20 minutes to do your topic, because I know we're going to go 20 minutes on it, at least. Because I already know the topic, so go. I interrupted you. I'll get that sent out this week to you, by the way.
All right, brother. All right, anyway, so Colin Kaepernick, all right, well, he's been back in the news mostly because of his protesters. Now, if anybody hasn't been following, this dumbass schmuck, he decided last year to protest against police brutality, Okay, so he's going to protest police brutality
and
by
oppression,
sitting on his ass during the national anthem being played at a football game.
and don't forget oppression of black people.
Oh, yeah, and black oppression and blah, blah, blah. Well, it caused an entire, this supposed movement. Well, honestly, you know what, and I will admit, it did. It caused a movement for me.
Right to the
to go to
toilet.
the bathroom to puke, and then also to say, fuck the NFL. I'm not watching any more of their fucking games if they're going to condone this bullshit. That was disrespectful. He is not there as, they tried to defend, well, that's his, that's freedom of speech. Okay, you know what, it is. I do agree. He has the right to sit down during the national anthem. And if he was sitting in the fan stands in the stadium and he decided to do that, I still think he was a dick.
Yeah, but he doesn't exactly have free speech.
Okay.
He doesn't have free speech altogether.
Now, hold on.
His company could tell him fuck off.
Well, hold on, but just the same as the guys in my shop. We fly an American flag out front every fucking day. And I make sure that flag, if that gets tethered, if something's wrong with it, we replace it, we take it to the VFW, we make sure it's disposed of in an appropriate manner. We revere our flag of this great country. And if one of my guys, while on the clock, while he's being paid even minimum wage, decided to go out there and drop it in the dirt, or piss on it, or shit on it, or step on it, or anything else, I'm telling you right now, his ass will be fucking fired. Plain and simple. Because if he told me, well, this is my free speech, not while I'm fucking paying you, it's not. You punch out, then you can do it. And then as soon as you do it,
it's vandalism.
Charged with destruction of private property. You want to do that shit, you do it on your own time, your own dime. That's all there is to it. So this little punk ass makes the stunt. He gets a following. He gets a gathering. And then he opts out of a contract. He quits his job.
Yeah. That's what pissed me off. $14 million he gave up on, walked away from.
Huh? He quit. Okay. So he quit his job, expecting, I'm a big shot now. Everybody's going to come after me. And all the team said, you're not that good of a quarterback. You're not worth it. You're just, I mean, you could bring some positive onto the field, but the negative you bring into the stands,
it's not worth
doesn't
it.
Balance.
Now, if he was
it doesn't balance.
If he was a Tom Brady, you better believe someone would sign him. He'd be worth the extra hassle. Not because I know I picked a white guy, but I'm just saying if you had a quarterback that was a top-notch quarterback.
But and see, that's the thing.
Well, here's my point. If you don't mind me making it real quick, there was another quarterback that was kneeling that got ran out of the football and hasn't played football since then because he kneeled. Tim Tebow.
Why did he kneel? I'm not as into football.
If he would score, he would kneel down to pray to God.
That's right. Okay.
And he was ran out. Oh, he can't play quarterback. He won a fucking playoff game and lost his job right afterwards.
Yeah. Now, see, my problem is this guy quit. So here's what the problem was. He quit, and all these teams are saying he ain't worth it. The grief you're going to bring to our franchise is not worth any positive aspect because, quite frankly, you're just not that good.
No.
And you know what? That's a business decision. Businesses make that decision all the time. People quit their jobs thinking, you know what? I'm worth more than this asshole's paying me. So I'm going to quit. And another company, they're going to pick me up. And you know what? They end up on welfare. Okay? They think they're worth more than they are. So what does this guy do? Well, he uses his celebrity status, supposedly, and it's only amongst a very small group, and he goes public with it. And then claims racism, that the reason he's not being signed is because the NFL is racist. Now you've got marches in the past few weeks, and you've got protests saying the NFL needs to fix this. The NFL has to. The NFL doesn't tell a team who they can hire. The franchise gets to decide who they draft and who they hire. Not the fucking NFL. The NFL just manages the league.
I want to protest. They haven't hired me yet, and I'm an out of shape, fat white boy. I think I ought to be made the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and I want the NFL to step in immediately because they're racist against fat, out of shape white guys.
I was going to go with the Packers in your case, but
Oh, wait a minute. I am in shape. Round is a shape. Yep.
So they're saying that the NFL has to get behind us, and he deserves a job. He deserves it. What does deserving have to do with anything? He didn't earn it. It's not like, okay, if the 49ers...
His play says he doesn't deserve it.
...fired him. If they fired him for it, I might think about... I may be thinking about this slightly differently, okay? If the 49ers did something, then I might think about this differently. Now, I say might because I don't know. That's not what happened, and I will not speak in absolutes. However, he quit his job. It's just the same as fucking unemployment. You quit your job, the whole reason you're unemployed is because of your own actions, not because of anything your employer did. You're not fucking entitled to benefits. You're not entitled to...
You want to hear something worse?
You deserve something. You know what? Fucking earn it.
You want to hear something worse about his contract?
I did a rant on Facebook earlier today, and that's specifically what it said was, he deserves it? Are you kidding me? He quit his job.
What's worse is last year, he made them renegotiate his contract. He still had like 2 or 3 years left on his contract. He renegotiated so that he could opt out of his he would have 1 year that he could opt out at the end of the year. So not only did he screw himself by walking away from this contract, he had a different contract that he renegotiated that shorted because he thought he can go get bigger money. Because he was getting fluffed into his head how great he was. He had one good season, and then he went to shit.
He's a legend in his own mind. That's really all it is.
What's messed up
he quit his job.
He got this woman. She's with BLM. Next thing you know, he's part of BLM. He's now into being a Muslim and all that, and now all of a sudden he's doing all this protesting.
Yep.
But the world is racist. But the white mother and father that adopted him and raised him,
as a Catholic.
Yeah, that's they were so racist.
And that's the thing they never discuss. And that's what I find truly fucking ironic.
Oh, what about the fact that a majority of your players are black and they get...
He keeps yelling and screaming about how everybody is racist against blacks. Everybody's racist. Your fucking parents are white, you piece of shit. And you keep saying, and now everybody's saying, okay, well, the NFL is racist.
How?
70+% of all NFL players.
NFL has probably made more millionaires besides NBA. I don't get to make $14 million in a year. You know what? You know who should be making $14 million in 1 year? The fucking firefighters, the paramedics.
The cops.
The cops. Yeah, but the emergency response as a whole should be making... We should be sitting there able to negotiate contracts.
No.
When we negotiate contracts, it's for what? A dollar raise?
Oh, no. But, and now here's what I find truly ironic. Emergency services, we want to negotiate a contract, and the other side won't come to the table. We still have to go to work.
Yeah, you can't strike.
The funny thing is, now, depending on where you're at and depending on which service you're in, it's either due to a legal requirement that you can't actually strike and not show up, or it's the simple fact that you care about your fucking fellow man.
Oh, that's the other thing, but it's still...
do not allow you to do it. Yet, how many times has professional sports been shut down because the guy didn't get an extra $10 million that year? And, oh, fuck it, we'll just strike it. We won't throw a ball at somebody.
But that's the thing. They're getting paid millions of dollars to play a game. To play a fucking game, they get paid. And then we hear, well, it's a dangerous sport. My career could be done away with at any moment. So now what are they doing?
How's your career going? Brother, how is your
I know
career
my
going?
career's over with. Yeah, but hang on. And now what do we hear? We got to make more rules. We got to make more rules to protect the quarterback so he doesn't get hurt. Oh, we got to change things because we don't want concussions. Okay. You have hockey. Well, it's getting too violent, so we have to make it a nicer sport. Okay, then let's start dropping the salaries down as you make it safer. Salaries come down. You'll see those players go, stop, wait a minute, we'll take the chances.
Okay. Now, here's my question for you, brother. So they make fire rescue and EMS, emergency services overall. They make it safer. So, yeah, the house is on fire. Oh man, there's kids in there, but the house is on fire. Well, they made my job safer. I don't have to go in. So we're all going to stand out here with cocks in hand. Bull fucking shit. We didn't sign on to the damn job. Correct me if I'm wrong, but not one of us got onto that rig for the paycheck. Well, I'm not going to say not one of us, but I'm going to say most of us.
There's a whole new breed out there nowadays.
I know. And
well, here's something for you. Out in California, out in the areas that are prone to fires, and it wasn't a nasty argument, but it was a discussion that I had with my brother-in-law, and this was several years ago. They were making a law that if your house is in a fire-prone area, the firefighters didn't have to fight the fire. They can let the house burn down. I said, it's bullshit. He said, no. It puts them in danger.
Fighting the fire is dangerous.
That's what I said. That's part of the job. Well, he kind of disagreed, and I explained the job and why some of us got into it. The best was my sister-in-law at that time was dating a New York City firefighter for like 2 weeks. And she starts telling me she knows more about the job, and I'm like, even her mother spoke up and was like, he's been a firefighter longer. And once I explained to him our job and why we do it and that it's our job to put our lives on the line, he was like, all right, that makes sense. I can understand. He goes, but I just don't think houses in an area that are prone. I said, what about areas that are prone to flooding? Should we not have to go in and rescue them?
No.
And he turned around. He goes, you made a good point. And he then disagreed with that law.
You and I both know. You and I both served in chief positions. You and I both were on planning committees. You and I both were part of different box plan developments for responses. If we knew that certain areas were prone to flooding, were prone to fire, were prone to this, were prone to that, what did we do? We adjusted the response plan to make it safer, but so that we could still do the job. And if that meant sending, instead of one rig, we send two. We send assist. We send mutual aid. We adjust the plan.
But we're not able to demand more money, and that's what pisses me off. We can't demand more money.
We still show up to work.
And I don't even work. I don't even work in that field anymore because of my injuries. But you know what? They still.
How many of these
people complain that they're getting too much money at like $40,000 a year. Oh, that's too much money. The fuck it isn't.
No, here's my question. Okay, most of us, professional emergency responders. Okay, law enforcement. No, there's really no volunteer cop.
Yeah,
but a lot of them started off in either the junior thing, the explorers, or they started off as volunteer EMTs. Most started off in a volunteer position. Okay, to help their fellow man, and then they work up to what it is they truly want. You and I have both seen it.
Yeah.
Now here's my question: all these professional athletes, did they ever volunteer to play a football game?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe in high school they did.
College.
After high school, did they volunteer? Oh, no. If they were playing football in college, there was only two ways they were playing it. One, they were paying to be able to play it.
No.
Which means they're not volunteering.
There's no money.
Hold on. No. Hold on. Hear me out real quick. Most of them got an athletic scholarship.
That's
a
misnomer.
Getting a paycheck, but they get a free education.
That's a misnomer. There's a very small percentage that actually get scholarships. There's a very, very small percentage. That's the misnomer.
And the rest of them are paying a tuition.
Well, they're volunteering to play football. They're not getting paid. They're not getting anything in back. So technically, they are volunteering. I understand where you're trying to go with it, but
Okay.
Because and that's what pissed me off about college football. I think they're using those guys. Those universities are making literally billions of dollars a year with TV contracts and these bowl games and all that, and none of these players get anything. But if they blow their knee out, it's bye-bye. You're done. And I think it's only like maybe 10% on a team, and you're only talking, 50, 60 players actually get scholarships?
You know what? Honestly, I am going to backtrack my statement. Because I've been, given the current climate, honestly, I've been completely focused on football, and I forgot about collegiate sports as a whole. Yeah. And I do have to admit that some of the best games I ever watched, because my sport's ice hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Watching the college ice hockey guys play. Do you want to talk about people that play for the fucking game? These guys are not worried. They're worried about getting exposure. They're worried about doing it right and doing it better than the next guy.
What's nice about with hockey, you can get drafted and you're getting paid by a pro team, and you could still be playing for your college team. You know what I mean? So that I like. They're drafting and they're allowing them to stay in college sometimes.
Okay, that I didn't know.
There's some players that stay on their college. If not, they'll go off to OHL, which, there's age limits. But you
can see how much I fucking know about all this shit nowadays.
There's so many goddamn leagues for hockey. It's confusing to me. But from what I understand,
there was only like 2.
Oh, there's OHL, there's WHL, there's ECHW, there's AHL. You have the NAACP or something like that.
I'm sorry, excuse me? You got the what?
I forget the college.
The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People?
I messed up. Did
you really just say that? Okay. Now, complete change of topic. And I'm not going to name the commentator that said this because I actually enjoy a lot of his content. But he was talking about gun control. And he was blasting the whole thing about semi-automatic versus automatic weapons and, how many bullets come out each time you pull a trigger. And he made a complete blunder. Because you could tell he was getting worked up. And he made a complete blunder. And he's like, one pull of the bullet, the trigger comes out. It's just like, dude, did he really just say that? Rewind. Yes, he did. No, he couldn't have said that. Rewind. Yes, he did. So I sent him a thing. I was like, dude, I know you do comedic stuff, and I really hope this was part of that because most of your fan base would probably pick up on it. I haven't heard back from him yet. But
there's also the clip in magazine that always gets people.
I love the whole. I know that was a complete change of topics, but it was just the whole Freudian slip thing that made me think of it.
It happens. But one other good thing, guess what starts in a couple weeks? Training camp.
Kaepernick's still not having a job?
Exactly. No, he'll have a job soon. It'll be, do you want fries with that? Oh, was that racial?
This multi-million-dollar bitch is going to end up qualifying for unemployment and benefits and everything else because of the way the system is.
Oh, it's funny. There's been several big-time black sports personnel that have come out and told them, you either could be a quarterback or you could be a political activist or civil rights activist, but you can't do both. Pick one.
The thing is, I mean, these actors and these singers and these athletes and everything else. I mean, they want to use everybody's defending the world. They're using their stage. They're using their medium to for their First Amendment rights. Well, okay, fine. Yeah, okay, fine. But you know what? That doesn't mean that anybody has to hire them to play for their team. It doesn't mean anybody has to hire them for a movie or for a concert or that anybody's going to fucking attend.
You have a right to say what you want, but companies have a right not to hire you for it.
Exactly. I mean, you're being paid for your entertainment value.
Well, look at Chris Hart.
For that ticket for the entertainment of your skills.
You know who Chris Hart is, right?
Viewpoint.
Chris Hart.
Sorry?
You know who Chris Hart is, the comedian?
I have absolutely no clue. Are you fucking kidding me?
He was asked about his opinion. He's
a white guy.
No, he's a black guy.
No, he's a white guy.
No.
He has to be. That's the only way I'm considered racist. And according to everybody, I'm racist. So.
But he came out. He was asked about Trump, and he said, why am I going to come out and give you my opinion and piss off half my base? I'm an entertainer. I'm here to entertain, not give you my political opinion. If I come out and give you my political opinion, no matter which way I go with it, I could piss off half my base and lose half my base. So my job is to entertain and take you away from your worries for an hour or two, and that's what I'm here to do, not lecture you on what I think needs to be done. I was like, and I've heard several actors.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now, like if a guy like Chris Rock, using that statement, one, he's going to win me over even more. Number two, if he turned around and said, look, I'm not here for my political viewpoints. Okay, I'm here to entertain you. All right? That's my job. That's my passion. I'm here to entertain. Now, if you want to know my point of view, this is my point of view. No, I don't like Trump personally. And that's all there is to it. Beyond that, draw your own damn conclusions.
Yeah.
I would still have the same amount of respect for the guy because he's not trying to... He is just simply stating, I have a point of view that differs from yours. Okay, fine. How many times have you and I differed in our points of view in the last 20 years?
But that's the thing what's going on right now. No, it seems like anybody that has a separate point of view, it's a hatred that's going out. Listen, I don't care if you have a different point of view. I don't care. Different points of view create a better idea. It's what's going on now is the push that is the only view. And the constant barrage that we get with this left movement right now is what pisses me off. I don't care that you don't like Trump. I didn't like Obama. Didn't mean I tried to bitch at you and shut you down. It just... Well, there was another actor, and I can't remember who his name is, but he's from Canada. Oh, it was Shatner. I think it was Shatner. And he was asked, what does he think? And his response was, I'm a foreigner. I'm a guest in this country. I'm not going to come in here and bash your president. I've been here for God knows how many years. He goes, but I'm a guest, and it's not my place. I was like, holy shit. Listen, we got to hit a break. We're late for break. So,
do that. I've got one thing I want to throw in after break.
All right. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media with a special guest, Crash, and HP Pundit, and we will be right back. Come on. I pushed that button and it didn't work.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on SHRmedia.com and HighPlainsDailyNews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
politicians.
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe. Seems I lost Crash on the phone. He might have had a take off. Not sure. He might call back. Speaking of, perfect timing. You just called right back as I'm doing the opening. Don't forget, coming up, top of the hour, about 31 minutes, you'll have the Sackheads Radio Show hosted by, well, the famous BZ and Sackhead Clint and Sackhead Sean. Tune in right after my show, and, they might be as good as me. I don't know. I've been getting pretty good lately. I'm patting myself on the back. All right, hey, what's up?
That's not what she said.
Oh, I got to tell you this article that I was going to do.
But hold on. Before you do that, what were we talking about right before the break?
The knife I was going to send you.
No, before the break.
Kaepernick. Sorry, Crappernick.
Yeah, there was something I was going to say when we came back. I completely fucking forgot what it was. Oh, and the knife that you're talking about, I got your text message. That's not what I thought it was. I thought you meant that the loop, the thumb hole, so to speak, was actually on the blade.
No.
The thumb hole is part of the handle.
Yeah.
And it's still just using a thumb screw to open the blade.
No. On the back side, of it, there's a little nub that you push, and it just helps pop the blade out.
No, that looks perfect.
That's what I mean by spring assist. You hit the button on the side, on the back side, and it's actually attached to the knife part. And when you just push on it, it kicks the knife out. You've never seen a spring assist?
I haven't seen this one, but I haven't seen one designed as this before. But you know what? I wouldn't fucking worry about it. That is a sweet piece.
Yes, BZ. I finally got it in and hooked up. I thought you would like it. I didn't know. It's a little bit of cheap metal, so.
That is a thing of beauty, and I will not always live in the communist state of Jersey. So
I'll send it to you this week. All right.
That's beautiful.
So
thank you, brother.
Dianne Feinstein was doing a speech in San Francisco Tuesday evening and got booed by Democrats. She turned around and she said Trump could be a good president and said that he will serve at least 4 years as president.
Oh, that chicken-shitted bitch.
Yeah, but you know what? She came out and she said the truth.
Well, the thing is, she said the truth, but not because she believes it. It's because she's worried that...
No, I don't think she's worried about it. I mean, that, if anything, she got booed for saying that. She was at a Democrat in California, I mean, and she admitted that Trump...
But now think about it. Okay, she was at a... Okay, so her audience locally was a Democrat. But the fact that she made that statement... First of all, the whole thing's being broadcasted nationwide. Now she makes that statement, it goes viral. Which means how many conservatives are going to turn around and go, what the fuck? Nah, that's got to be bullshit. They're all going to click on it.
This came from
I'm sorry. I'm gonna call publicity stunt. Sorry.
I don't know. I just think sometimes she's a little too old that she forgets what she's doing and what line she's supposed to run.
Obama was president, and she was bashing a Bush decision that was just made a week ago.
No, that was Pelosi. That was Nancy Pelosi.
No, they're both old as shit.
Oh, yeah, they're both old as shit. But, yeah, I could not believe that Feinstein actually admitted that Trump is basically a good president and that he's not going to get impeached and he's going to serve at least 4 years. Because you also now have Michael Moore, who predicted Trump would win, has come out and said he will win re-election in 2020. That the billionaire is already, and this is quote, the billionaire is already on track to win re-election. I should say reappointed because we will have an even larger population that will vote against him in 2020, but he will win those electoral states as it stands now. Now, there's a movement that Michael Moore is a part of where they're trying to change it, that whoever wins the popular vote in that state wins the whole state electoral vote. That's the state. That's the way they want to do it. That's fine. Because it's not just going to hurt, a Republican, because there was states that Trump won that she got numbers off of also. So it goes both ways. It's not going to change the system majorly. I guess what it's trying to do is get California set at all 50. I think I don't exactly know how California does it, but if California splits its electoral up, this will make it so all 55 go to one candidate. Because we know how California is going to vote every presidential election pretty much. They're going to go liberal nowadays, and all 55 votes are going to go for a liberal then. And you know what? That's why I've sat back and kind of laughed when you had California is going to succeed. We're going to leave. I said, bye. Bye-bye. See ya. Because automatically, Democrats are going to lose 55 electoral votes. Why? Because they vote for Democrat for God knows how long now. And we know it's going to go liberal. They're going to vote Democrat. And if they're not there, what are the Democrats going to do? They're going to lose all those electoral numbers. That's why I knew it was all just running of the mouth. I don't know if he hung up. Sounds like he's still there. And yes, BZ, I love this new mic. I love the new mic. I also, while I wasn't here yesterday, BZ, I upgraded some parts in my the live stream computer. And I'm now live streaming simultaneously to Facebook and YouTube, and I haven't seen any lag at all. No, nothing. It looks like both were good broadcasts for the whole show. I'm actually very happy with the broadcast. So, I'm so excited. Oh, why is that doing that? That wasn't supposed to be doing that. Oh, good. I mean, no, it's not that hard. It's just as if the computer can handle it. That's the big thing. That's weird. I'm watching it scrolling on the bottom. Anybody that's also wants to call in, there is a number that scrolls on the bottom of the live stream with the call-in number. Just call in if you want. I don't mind. My next one is to fix this headset issue. Drives me up a wall. I know I got off topic real quick, but right where the connector is for the headset, it out of nowhere, all of a sudden, as I had talked about it earlier, I'll just stop hearing out of the right, and I got to bang it, twist it. Oh, that's weird. Why is that doing that? Text. Huh. Oh, that's broadcasting good, so heck with it. All right, what do we do next? Don't forget, coming up in about 42 minutes. No, 22 minutes. 22 minutes will be the Sackheads radio show, hosted by Sackhead Clint, Sackhead Sean, and the famous, the best bartender, BZ. Thinking Crash is still there, but I can't hear him. Maybe you just forgot to hang the phone up. He could be a little nuts like that. As I said earlier, Nancy Pelosi has denounced violent Antifa protesters, unequivocal condemnation. She actually did it before Paul Ryan would condemn Antifa. And that's funny that we have liberals that are coming out and condemning the actions of Antifa before the Republicans are. And that's what pisses me off. It pisses me off because Trump was not wrong with what he said. And this whole media blow-up was a manufactured bullshit. New York Times and someone else had to correct multiple articles and publications about what they misquoted Trump multiple times. He did not say anything racist. He pointed out the fact of what was going on that Saturday. And now we're finding out just how violent. And you know what? When the left and all these Republicans that stood up and went after Trump, you gave so much power to Antifa. You there, Crash? Oop. Hang on. Seemed we finally did lose them. It gave them a bunch of power. We gave them so much power when everybody jumped on the anti-Trump bashing party because he called out. All right, we got Crash again. You there, Crash?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I turned you down, and usually the little clip button will, flash up when you're talking. I might have missed it. So,
yeah, now I had two of your youngest nieces pop out, damn near ready for a fist fight. Sorry, I apologize, everybody. I had to stop the bloodshed.
It happens.
Although I was thinking about taking ticket orders.
Ding ding! In this corner we have.
Although I did remember what I was going to say.
All right.
Ironically enough, because I could hear you, but you couldn't hear me. So I actually remembered what it was I was going to say when we came back from break.
All right, go ahead.
Real quick. So everybody's up in arms about Trump not denouncing something quick enough, and then denouncing it but not denouncing it correctly, and then waiting for clarification but not waiting for... Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever the fuck this guy does, it's going to be wrong.
Exactly.
That's been blatantly obvious since day one. All right? They blasted him all over the media for the fact that, let's say, okay, he says that, I'm going to go to Texas. And everybody jumps on the media bandwagon. It's too soon. Do you know how many resources that takes away from rescue efforts for him to be here and this, that, and the other thing? Given the fact that he automatically assigned more rescue assets immediately than the past two presidents did in the same time frame, to venture to say you're actually not losing anything, you're still gaining.
Yeah.
So... Shut
There's
up.
actually been talks that this has been the best response we've seen.
Yeah. Now, so that, that never got squashed, but, they decided to jump on something else. Melania Trump walks out of the White House, okay, the presidential residence, wearing a very conservative outfit, but she has high heels on.
How dare she wear high heels? I mean...
Now, she boards Marine One. Okay.
The gall of
Where she
her.
boards Marine One. And, she obviously doesn't know what a hurricane is. I mean, she's wearing sky-high stilettos on her way to a hurricane scene. I actually put this on Facebook today.
I saw.
How many of you Nimrods dress the same way getting on or on your way to boarding an aircraft as you do when you reach your final destination after disembarking the aircraft? Honestly, all of you are a special kind of stupid.
Well, that's the thing, and that was mentioned, but the funny thing is, there was so little to complain about. There was nothing really to complain about the response to Hurricane Harvey, that the media, the only thing they could bitch about was she wore high heels to the plane. And how did she get off the plane? Crash, you there? Crap. Crash. That's weird. Crash, if you can hear me, I can't hear you. Call back. Now, how she got off the plane? She was wearing sneakers. She changed her shoes on the plane. And that's what Crash was making a point of. You're able to change clothing on a plane, especially a plane like Air Force One. There was so little wrong that's what they had to bitch about. And no matter what Trump does, no matter what he does, they will find something to poke at. This is how disgusting liberal media has gotten. How the drive-by media just has to pick on something. They can't pick on the response. Now, there's been some issues with the response because they're having trouble getting some of the rescuers there. But all the stuff is there. And it's... What did I hear? You got the Cajun Rescue or something like that. The Cajun Navy. They're there and they've been shot at. And this is one of the best things that I've seen. And why do I say the best things? Not because I like seeing hurricanes, but because you see whites, blacks, everybody helping each other. You see the best of America. The best this country is of people working together. You don't see just one group helping one group. You see everybody helping each other. As much as the media tries to tear us down, sometimes when the worst happens is when you see the best. And I've seen it time and time again in my career. When the worst happens, the best comes out in the people. And it's sad. I'm going to point out one thing. The Houston mayor, who's been kind of absent, who chastised people that were leaving early because he did not say they needed to evacuate. How dare they evacuate Houston when he did not give the order? And he put out tweets chastising, telling people not to listen unless it's from an official site. Don't leave Houston. And then they get hit big time. And what is he worried about? He sends out another tweet. If you are an undocumented immigrant, I will personally protect you. They have people nursing home, elderly, in wheelchairs, stuck in water, and he's worried about protecting illegal immigrants. That's a Democrat mayor for you. That is disgusting. Repulsive. I'm going to take a break. I know I'm a little late for it. I haven't taken all my breaks tonight, so you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on SHRmedia.com and HighPlainsDailyNews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. Well, show's almost done. I got a short little segment here. And then, top of the hour, approximately 8 minutes from now, we will have the Sackheads radio show. Coming from behind enemy lines in California, Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, and BZ will be giving us the week's worth of news in a way you've never heard it before. So tune in right after Reaver Common Sense. It's 11 o'clock on the right coast, on the Republican coast, and 8 o'clock on the Democrat left coast. So tune in. See what it's like to live behind enemy lines of California. Right on the Sackheads radio show. All right. Let's see. What do we got? Yeah, I was shocked that Pelosi came out so before any Republican really did. That's got to be an embarrassment. That has to be an embarrassment for the Republican, but they're used to being an embarrassment. So conservatives rally against Republicans blocking Trump's legislative agenda. First up, Representative Charlie Dent. And it's a group. It's American for Limited Government. And Phyllis Schifley Eagles are sponsoring the first in a series of rallies designed to call out Republicans in Congress who are obstructing President Donald Trump's legislative agenda. First up is Pennsylvania Representative Charles Dent. The Lehigh Valley No Surrender rally will take place from noon to 1:30 Friday at Jordan Park in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Dent's hometown. For all intent and purpose, and Dent is a member of the Democrat caucus. Rick Manning, president of the ALG, stated, adding that Dent is more comfortable working with liberals like Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi than the conservatives in Congress and the president. Charlie Dent's career has been nothing more than a laundry list of abject surrender to liberal Democrats. Americans are fed up and ready to reclaim the mantle of last November's election. It's no secret, Rhino, Charlie Dent, has been a never-Trumper from the very beginning. During the October surprise against our president, which sought to kneecap his 2016 election bid, Dent was on board the liberal bandwagon, calling for Trump to withdraw his name as the GOP nominee. The chairman of the RNC must look out for the good of the party as a whole, so he should be working to get Trump to step down, Dent said. Politico reported in June that Dent sent a letter to House Speaker Paul Ryan opposing Trump's plan to cut $200 billion of unnecessary spending from the federal budget. The letter also encouraged GOP leaders to work with Democrats to reach a budget agreement setting higher spending levels for fiscal 2018, something the letter suggests could be paired with a vote to raise the debt ceiling, Politico reported. Dent also was one of only two Republicans who voted against defunding Planned Parenthood, the nation's largest abortion provider. Dent also opposed Trump's effort to temporarily stop people from 6 countries identified as having active terrorists from coming into the United States. You can't do that to people, Dent said at the time. Manning said Dent heads up the Tuesday group, which describes as a group of moderate or center-right House members. But Manning said the group is liberal and has fought conservatives in Congress over legislation favored by Trump, including the effort to repeal and replace Obamacare. And in what is shaping up to be a bloody September on Capitol Hill as Congress deals with a massive legislative calendar, including funding relief for the victims of Tropical Storm Harvey in Texas, conservatives want to hold lawmakers accountable. On Friday, we will call out Liberal Tuesday group leader Charlie Dent and the entire Pennsylvania Surrender Caucus and tell them to get back in line with the Trump agenda or get out of the way. Starting September 1st, we will expose Charlie Dent and his Liberal Tuesday group, Republicans, for surrendering the Trump agenda to Nancy Pelosi and the far left. We urge all Trump supporters to join us in Allentown and send a message to Congress to get to work and pass Trump's agenda. Oh, I gotta see it. Hey, hon, why don't we take a trip up to your parents? And while we're there, I can go to this rally. Yeah, that'd be... Oh, what are you guys doing here? I'm here to go to a pro-Trump rally. Yeah, I'd be back in the doghouse with the in-laws again real quick. Oh, that wouldn't work out too good. I don't know. Let's see what else we can get in right before the end of the show. That was one article. And I love that they're calling out these supposed Republicans. And pressure needs to be put on those Republicans. You don't see Democrats fighting like that. I swear you have Republicans that are out there purposely doing this. This one I want to put out here because it hit home very close. University of Tampa stepped up very quickly and did the right thing. This past weekend, one of their assistant professors put out a tweet. What was it? Trying to get... I don't believe in instant karma, but this kind of feels like it for Texas. Hopefully this will help them realize the GOP doesn't care about them. And this was in talks about Hurricane Harvey hitting Texas. He goes out and tweets, I don't believe in instant karma, but this kind of feels like it for Texas. So because they voted for Trump, they deserve a hurricane hitting them. Well, he has now lost his job. University of Tampa did not put up with it, kicked his ass to the curb quickly. And I applaud University of Tampa for doing it. You know, you can get your points out there without acting like an idiot. So, all right, coming up next is the Sackheads Radio Show. That's right, with BZ, Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint. I'll be back tomorrow, my regular time, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m., and it's... What the heck? There we go. All right, have a good night. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work there too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late night conservative talk? Sackheads Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa.
Whoa.
It's like wow, what is going on here, baby?
You love it so much you wanted to hear it twice.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Just
It's been one of those days.
Oh, it's been one of those. Yeah. We'll give it days.
And
you know what?
And weeks and weekends. The Chinese had a threat. It was a saying. It went like this.
Yes.
May you live in interesting times. Translated, that means fuck you. But that was the nice Chinese way of saying it.
Welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this evening. SHRmedia.com is the website. You can also check us out on High Plains Pundit, our good friends over there who we love dearly. Make sure you jump into the chat. Join into the chat room. BZ will be monitoring the chat early. I will get in once I get all of this stuff up and running.
We've got already. It's like Jersey Joe, he's playing, there's his show. Jersey Joe's in chat, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom. Now we got, Jersey Joe's in chat. We got Big Mouth Patriot, Mary Brockman, Mike, and one viewer.
What number?
I don't know. There is no number.
Wow. So there's not even a.
I know it's kind of. Here we go. Turn the thing around. Okay, now the folks can see me. The folks at home.
I don't know if that's always a good thing. Like when I look at the camera, I'm like, ooh, who really wants to see this?
Well, let's see. Clint, you did a very valuable thing.
Yes.
Now I have this camera. Oh, your camera. The board operator's camera is about 3 feet away, right?
Yeah, right here. It's right here.
Yeah, it's right in front.
Here.
But I'd say it's about 3 feet away, right? Okay, and that's good. That's a good distance. And then you look at my cam. Now, my cam is closer.
Right there.
My cam is about 1.5 feet away or so.
Yes.
But this is why you are brilliant. Because though he's not here tonight, I saw that you were forecasting ahead sufficiently so that you placed Clint's camera a good 4 feet away from him.
Yes.
In order to accommodate certain things.
Honk, 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 honk.
So I'm just making that point. That's all I'm doing.
Let me subtly say...
just making the point.
I don't knows why I did that, but I did it.
But you did. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a bit of brilliance.
Yeah, well,
brilliance.
And of course, that's why Sackhead Clint
and that's why there are no injuries. You were thinking ahead. There could have been industrial injuries occurring here in the studio. Your insurance rates would have gone up. So excellent move on your part. Even though we did have to cut that notch in the doorway. But still, that minimizes casualties. And you're thinking about nothing but risk management. And that's what a good owner does. So good on you for that.
Yeah. Well, it's always looking ahead. That's what I'm always doing. Speaking of looking ahead, that's why Sackhead Clint is not with us this evening. He is actually at his consult for rhinoplasty. Unfortunately, it's funny is most people, it's a one-day event, right? You go in, the doctor looks, measures, does a couple of things.
Right.
But it's almost like you're surveying a field where it's taken a couple people a long period of time.
I don't know if I should say this or not.
You can say whatever you want.
Can I? Okay. All right. It should therefore come as no shock that so many other plastic surgeons have turned him down.
Well, here's the thing,
because they said, this is untenable.
Well, so immediately they're like, oh, this is the gold mine. This is a yacht, baby. I can retire.
That's right. This is not just a tune-up for my Porsche.
Right. No, this is a yacht.
But the question is, do I have the time and the tools?
But it's almost like the person who hits the lottery and goes fucking berserk with it because they don't know what to do with it. It's overwhelming. They get in and start measuring it. And, normally they use like a centimeter or millimeter measurement. But with his, they actually have to use a laser measurer. Construction grade, sits on a tripod. It's a big deal.
Right, it is.
So once he realized he had to buy all that equipment, I'm not saying that his first rhinoplasty plastic surgeon turned to drugs and alcohol. I'm just saying we hope that he has a speedy recovery.
Okay, there we go. Now that's a kind way of phrasing it. But as Clint said one time, he said there has been a benefit to me going to all these FACS doctors.
Yes.
Is the fact that because of the amount of light required to illuminate this cavernous venue in front of them, that the lights get so hot it's burned out all of his nose hair.
Right.
And so he doesn't have the trouble breathing so much anymore.
Well, and that's, you know what? Every day is a good advancement for him, and I appreciate that. I appreciate how hard he's working at it, and I really do appreciate the fact that he is making a difference.
I just want him to get better. Whatever he wants.
Just want him to get better.
Oh, what?
It's just a big nose. It's just a big nose.
But he's going to these surgeons and whatnot for consultations, and all I can say is, honestly, I just want what's best for Clint.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever he wants, that's what I want to.
And I do too. I want what's best for him. His transition didn't work out so good a couple years ago.
Yes, and that was a lot of money.
He put a lot of money and time and effort into it, and we were behind him. I mean, if you've never seen Clint in a pair of heels,
he felt us.
We were pushing. He felt the pressure from behind. Is all I'm saying. If you've never seen Clint in a pair of heels, shame on you. It is a sight to behold. And I'm just saying we miss him, but we understand, and I can't wait to the fact for the day to come that he can walk in and not knock a glass off a counter or a light bulb out of the ceiling. It's embarrassing for the poor guy after a while, and I understand his pain.
Well, it's like when you have to child-proof a house when you get new kids because you want to make sure that the injuries do not occur to your children. You kind of have to do that to the office where he works and to his home, and of course we had to make adjustments here as well.
Right.
But I think we owed it to him.
Well, after he went to the ADA, because we weren't stocking the right size toilet paper and, not toilet paper.
Kleenex,
thank you.
Right. We had to use, here's the thing, and it was a great choice, a great decision on your part when we went to shop towels.
Yes, well, and so I didn't realize that was part of ADA, but it was apparently, and we got that taken care of. And it's a much better thing now, for him and for everybody in here, and the cleanup makes it a lot easier. Have you ever seen confetti? You remember those little pop bottles with confetti in it?
Oh, sure. That you'd pull the string and they'd go pop.
Yes,
and then it would just go everywhere.
So what most people don't realize is when Clint uses a regular Kleenex and sneezes, that's what the room gets covered in. Only it's not as festive.
It's boogerish.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to take, one of those scrapers, like you'd scrape paint. You have to scrape it off the various accoutrements.
Yes.
That becomes festooned with that.
It's funny. It's not as bad until you start using foreign language, and then for some reason it makes it that much gross.
Yeah. I'm trying to put a little brainworm in there in your mind that you can see it appropriately, so that people can experience it in the fashion in which we do.
Yes. And it's pretty amazing. Hey, if you're watching and you want to jump into the chat room, you can go to shrmedia.com, click on live chat, and jump into the chat room, please, or listen via Spreaker. And we're also on the YouTubes.
Look at this. We've got a grand arseload of people in chat. We've got Jersey Joe. We've got Mike, Big Mouth Patriot. We got Carrie Baxter Donovan.
Miss Baxter Donovan.
Mary Brockman. And we have guest FF17.
Whoa.
Which is much finer than guest FF16. Thank you.
Right. No, the 17 definitely always outdoes the 16. And that's just the way it is. There's no undoing that. Of course, I want to start off the show right off the bat with our thoughts and prayers to the good people of Texas And Louisiana now, who's starting to deal with some of the rainfall. But certainly Texas has just really... to say that it's a tragedy is an understatement, and I don't have the right word for it. But on the other hand, the one thing that the good people of Texas have done for this country is shown us that once again, the fabric of our nation shines brightest in times of tragedy. It's sad that it has to come to that, and it's not anything that I would ever wish. But the reality is, when tragedy hits, it's when the citizens in this country come together the best. And the tragedy in Texas with Hurricane Harvey has certainly shown us that. The best in human beings, the best in people, the best in Texans, the best in Americans.
I tried to get Dan Butcher to call in last night, and we had a phone problem. I would love to have heard what Dan has heard and listened to about this. I'd love to have his input on this. And Dan, if you're listening, which I think you are, then I'd love to have you on the show tomorrow night.
Or tonight.
If
he wants to call in.
Perfect, yeah. Dan, call in.
And
We'll chat.
you know what? I will open lines up tonight just because I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of insight. Now, before anybody calls in, and I'll give you the phone number in a second.
I'm going to put the number in chat.
And I'll put it out over the air. But before anyone calls in, I'm going to tell you right now, I put it out on my Facebook, and I'm certainly going to hold on to this during the show. I am not going to make political pundit statements about Texas right now.
No, this is not the time.
Until the rains stop and until the recovery begins, then we can discuss the politics of it. I will not do that right now because I have respect for the good people of Texas and certainly now Louisiana and anyone else who's being affected by Harvey.
Because it's been politicized terribly.
And it's driving me insane. It is absolutely driving me freaking insane. So I definitely want to give our hearts, thoughts, and prayers to the people who have been stricken by this horrific storm. I know BMP is living down in Texas. I know he's been affected on some level. By the way, he also just got an absolutely adorable dog, but that's a different conversation to have altogether. Certainly we have other listeners who are down in the area. I just, what you see coming out of social media, and you see the pictures of these people who, without ever being asked, you've had local governments the last couple of days start asking average citizens just to jump in and help. If you have a boat, if you have the gas, if you can do it, just help any way you can. Check all the houses, check all the roofs, do all of those things. But that was before the government asked them to do it. These people just knew it was the right thing to do, and they started helping. And you've heard so many amazing stories of rescues. You had the Cajun Navy come over from Louisiana with all of their boats to volunteer.
I saw video of this dude from another state, can't think of his name, and he brings his boat on his trailer from 2 states away in order to help people and bring them to dry land in some fashion. He's not aligned with anybody. He's just like you and me. But he's got a boat and a trailer and a pickup truck. And there he was, helping out as best he could. For people he had no idea who the hell they were.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've heard these stories time and again with everybody. And it's just amazing. The people of Texas are so grateful for each other. It's a completely amazing thing to watch. And, you know, when you look at resiliency amongst people and human beings, and when you start looking at what's important, you see that in Texas now. It's not who you voted for. It's not what you drive. It's not what kind of house you live in. It's none of that stuff. Yeah, there's been some looting. We can talk about that in a little bit. By and large, it is people helping people. It is also the first responders going to no end to make sure that the citizens that they are protecting and serving are taken care of. It's not perfect. I know there's some complaints out there. I understand that, and I'm not living it. So I can't say firsthand everything has been perfect or everything has been bad. What I can say is that from first look and from our distance and what we see, everyone's working to the best that they possibly can. And I want to highlight the story of Sergeant Steve Perez, Houston police officer who drowned.
Right.
Sergeant Perez, 34-year veteran of the Houston Police Department. The morning the storm started, he got up, or the evening rather, he got up and started to head to work. 4 a.m. is when he left his house, Sunday morning. His wife asked him not to go, and his response to her was, "There's work to be done." And, here's a guy who's gone up and put his uniform on 34 years in a row. And as he was driving to work, the regular routes were impassable due to water. And they think he drove around for several hours in his car trying to find a way to get into work to start helping other people. Eventually, it was learned that he drove into an underpass that he thought was passable, and it was not. And he ended up underwater and succumbed to drowning, was not able to get out of the vehicle, and he perished. And that was just, it's a humongous story, but that's just one of the many stories of public servants who are putting themselves in harm's way to try to save others. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with the sergeant and the family in the Houston Police Department, and his sacrifice will never go unnoticed, because even after 34 years, he still got up. Hey, listen, 34 years, you're no young fella. It could have been very easily for him to wake up and go, yeah, you know what, I can't get to work, guys. Drove around for 15 minutes, drove home. Would have been the easiest thing to do. Safe with his family.
Anyone could have done that.
Yep.
And I don't think anyone would have been faulted if they found it's impassable.
Right.
That's it.
And here's a guy and a public servant who's so dedicated to his people that he serves and his city that he serves. He drove around for what they believe was a couple of hours and took a risk. Listen, he's on the job 34 years. You know he had questions on that underpass going into it because he drove around for 2 hours and found everything else impassable. So he was looking. He knew there was a potential every time he drove through any sort of water that if it was deeper than what he thought it was, he could be in trouble. And instead of just stopping, he continued and tried. And unfortunately, it cost him his life. But it's also an absolute amazing image for what Texas has done to help each other and the type of people that have shone brightly through this tragedy. You now see pictures of, like we said, the average citizens in their boats driving around rescuing people. I saw a picture of a guy on a jet ski with an elderly woman on the back in the living room of her house. He backed through the doors up to the stairs and went up to the second floor because she was not able to get through the water and climb on. A young man. And the people who took the picture, you could just tell the joy in this woman's face that she was being saved. This guy was just an average Joe. He had the means, he had a vehicle, he had gas, and he was able to do it. You see all the other first responders, the dive teams, the swift water rescue teams, the fire department, just regular line officers, public servants, EMT guys, who are up to their chest in water and sometimes deeper to make rescues out of homes. And you've seen images. There's not enough life jackets to go around, folks. There's not enough water preservers. There's not enough any of that. So these guys and gals know that every single time they put their foot in that water, the danger is there. And they still keep going. And they still keep going. There was an amazing image of a Houston police officer who was sleeping on the first day, and he literally just sat down and passed out. You could tell.
Yeah, he was. I think I saw that one.
Yeah.
He's passed out. He's leaning he's on the curb or on the street, leaning up against a wall.
Just sleeping and trying to catch a couple of hours. When I tell you that it's unfortunate, but tragedy brings out the best in people, it's 100% true. And Texas is showing this country again how when the chips are down, how we should act towards each other as a people, put the unimportant shit aside, and deal with what's important. And the tragedy and the horror is certainly not over. The rains are subsiding, but there's still the flood wash. It's bigger area-wise than the flooding of Katrina.
Oh, God, yes.
314 square miles, I believe, was the last estimate that I heard earlier today.
Some guy on Fox was riding around in an ice helicopter, and made this notation. He noticed that from Houston to Port Arthur, it was nothing but water. And he said there were a few dry spots, but other than that, wherever he looked, all water, completely. Period. End of statement. How do you handle that? How do you prepare for something like that?
Yeah.
I hear the constant bleat of, why didn't those people evacuate? Well, Houston, the city of Houston, that's a different matter. We can have that discussion later.
Politics.
But in terms of, well, those people in the suburbs and whatnot, why didn't they get out? I was listening to one particular woman say that the rains were around, the roof was fine, they looked out, the flood was like blocks and blocks and blocks away.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, about 10 or 15 minutes later, we saw a little water near the front yard. And about a few minutes after that, water was gushing through the front door.
Yeah.
That's how fast it moves.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of being in a forest fire, only with water. I've heard people say about forest fires, I can't believe how quick it moved.
Yeah. And water is just the same beast.
The same thing.
In a lot of ways. So, as this unfolds, the politics will be there. But I don't want anyone to lose sight of the amazing efforts that are being made by people to save other people. I know that people are like, well, there's so much to highlight. I don't care about individual, this guy was this color and saved that color. I see that all over social media. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
What matters is you have people who are putting themselves in harm's way and doing what they can for their fellow man. And to me, it's an amazing sight to behold. Like I said, it's sad that it takes a tragedy, but it also restores hope in this time of turmoil in this country and everything that's been going on. To have this on display for the American people and the world, it shows that we are not as fractured as we sometimes think we are. And I hope that's something that nobody ever forgets.
Unfortunately, we do. That's the tendency of human nature.
Yes. And
but people are saying that this is worse than Katrina.
In a lot of ways.
And I mentioned this last night. Here's a bit of irony that a lot of people didn't think of. This is the first hurricane, I think, that's occurred in about 12 years.
In Texas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when Katrina hit in, when was Katrina? 2004, 2003? I don't remember. But in any event, 3? 4? Okay. In any event, from New Orleans, a number of the people left New Orleans and went where?
Texas.
Houston.
That's right.
Houston got a lot of people that were driven out of their homes from New Orleans. Now, how would you like to be one of those persons who you were forced to leave the city or town that you enjoy and love, and you were displaced? You're in Houston. You're trying to make a life for yourself, and this hits again. And depending on where you are, you might find yourself displaced again.
Once again. Yeah, it's really sad for so many people and in so many different ways. You have Port St. Arthur that right now, from what everyone says, pretty much the whole town's gone. I haven't seen it myself. I'm going off of what news reports have said. But the whole town could very well be gone. And just to think about that sort of damage.
And folks are saying it's going to be, in some instances, it will be perhaps a decade before some of this stuff comes back.
Yeah, that's the craziest part to me, is to think it would be over a decade. Yeah, Katrina was 2005. Sorry. They're up to 49 inches of rain in some areas. I'll tell you right now, I just don't know how. I mean, I know they can recover because we've seen it before, right? We've seen a huge recovery on a massive basis. It takes a long time. But you have to imagine when a whole town is gone, and we've seen this with tornadoes, we've seen this with other instances where we lose a whole town. The amount of effort that goes into it from the townspeople. We can talk about insurance, federal government, money, blah, 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 but usually it's coordinated by the local government and the people that lived there and want to return there. I know in California we see it a lot with wildfires. There was a fire 2 years ago up in Lake County.
There are 2 fires near me.
Right now?
You're right now.
Yeah.
The Butte Fire and I think it's the Paradise Fire, which are a little bit north of me.
But still, we see it again. But I'm always amazed at the resiliency of the folks who come back, rebuild, and want their. And it's so funny because I grew up in an area of pride, right? In the Northeast, we had neighborhood pride, city pride, a lot more than I've seen it in a lot of other places. BMP can certainly back me up on that. One of my oldest and dearest friends that's in chat room. But you see that in these towns of, hey, it's just not a piece of dirt or a main street or a row of stores. It's my piece of dirt. It was my property. It was my row of stores. It's my city. These are my people. And you see them bounce back, and usually stronger and better than they were before because they live that tragedy together and that community rebuilds together. Yes, there are some people that leave. There are some new people that show up. I'm talking about the initial group that's there and sticks around through the duration. And you see after the fact that it is like a family. And I can't remember the name of the town, and I'm sorry, but there was a town in the Midwest that was completely destroyed by a tornado 5-6 years ago. It was a massive tornado. I remember watching a documentary. It was a smallish town.
I told you the story about the town that got wiped out in Ohio.
Yes, that's right. Very much like that.
And directly affected me.
Yep.
Even though I wasn't there.
Yeah. And it absolutely did directly affect you. But I watched the documentary on this town as they rebuilt and they built together. And like they said, we are now like a family. We endured this tragedy together. We fought through it together. We supported each other together. And now we're rebuilding together. And to see that transpire and to see that get closer, and I hope the good people of Houston carry through that, and everybody else who's been struck by this tragedy, because it's not just Houston. That's the other thing I want to point out. Like I said, Point St. Arthur is gone from what everyone's saying. And there's so many other towns and cities that have been affected by this tragedy that we can only hope that the light will shine through the darkness and their rebuilding will be fast, done quickly and easily, and done right. And that the people can start to rebuild their lives and live for many, many years, understanding the gravity of what they went through and hopefully being able to have a different outlook on life.
The situation is terrible, but the honest answer is the work is just beginning.
It's not even over yet. The situation is not even over.
Nope.
The work hasn't even begun.
Nope.
They're still in search and rescue mode.
So much more ahead of all those folks.
They are. Folks, we're up against a break here on the Sackheads Radio Show. When we come back, we have a whole bunch of topics to talk about. I do want to talk about an incident that happened locally to us this afternoon, and then we'll go on from there. All that and more here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cow for the stupid.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to obstacles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for
Conservative media done right.
I gotta get used to that. We changed our sound input a little bit, so everybody's getting it.
So it's what on autoplay now?
Yes. So it just does whatever the hell it wants to. I'm not saying I'm a genius. Is really what I'm kind of getting at here. Welcome back to the
Where's
Sackheads.
Clint's T-shirt now that we need it?
Fuck technology, man. Fuck it. Just fuck it. Hey, I know I said I put out the phone number early, and I will, 916-282-9806.
Dan was in chat, and Jane was in chat,
Yes.
and I hope that Dan, maybe he heard that he was invited to call.
Yes.
Just
saying.
Jersey Joe in chat says, fire the producer.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to fire the fucking producer of the show. He sucks. Not going to lie. 916-282-9806. That's 916-282-9806. If you are in Texas and you've been affected directly by the storm, we'd love to hear from you.
Underground professors in Texas, too.
Yes. There's a lot of people we know and we're friends with down in Texas. So certainly, if you want to call in, we may answer the phone. It happens occasionally here on the Sackheads Radio Show.
And we promised not to say Domino's Pizza. How can I help you?
Well, no,
well, maybe we don't promise.
I don't promise that whatsoever. Well, I'll tell you right now, as a kid, I used to answer the phone at the house all the time. Joe's Crematorium, you kill him, we grill him.
I used to answer Ernest and Julio's Gallows, 2 ropes, no waiting.
That is outstanding. I love them. You know, you're going to have fun, right? What's the point if you can't really have fun? Oh, gosh. I do want to discuss yet another tragedy today that took place just here in Sacramento. And a sheriff's deputy here was shot and killed, and 2 highway patrol officers were injured during an incident. And essentially, from what I know through some of my friends, as well as the news media out here, is it started off as a stolen vehicle. The Auto Theft Task Force was watching.
Correct.
Two females got into the car. They attempted to stop it. It led to a pursuit down to Elk Grove, California, out of Sacramento, still in the county. After they got the two people into custody, they learned one of them was on probation. They went back to the hotel to search it based on the probation status legally. As they knocked, there were shots fired through the doors, struck the two CHP officers. A male party emerged with a weapon, from what we understand. Sacramento County Sheriff Bob French was with the CHP officers as part of the team, was on the first level. Suspect came out of the second floor.
Yeah, he was holding a perimeter for the task force people that were attempting to do the probation search.
Yes, and came out with what I've heard was an AK-47. I don't know if there's any truth
I haven't
to
heard
that.
specifically what it is. Just all I know is it's a long gun of some sort.
Yeah, there was a witness who identified it specifically as an AK, and also believed that it was fully automatic, and fired upon Deputy French, and it struck and killed him. There was then another vehicle pursuit where a female exited a different car that was believed to be stolen after a crash, and began firing back at officers, and she was shot on scene. Truly tragic, and I know, BZ, this relates personally to you.
The two last deputies who were shot and killed on the department used to both work for me.
Yes.
Bob French worked for me at one point, and Danny, folks may not remember this, but Danny Oliver was shot and killed in 2014 in the North area when they were making made a vehicle stop on a particular individual who was an illegal. It turns out, led on a pursuit. He disappeared. He ended up going up into Placer County in an attempt to get away after stealing another vehicle. And in the process of trying to track him down, Deputy Detective Michael Davis encountered that suspect, and he shot and killed Detective Davis from Placer County as well.
Just, gosh. And this was just a tragedy, obviously, and also an act of an evil person.
Bob French was 52. He was married. He was living with his girlfriend. He has at least 2 kids. He has grandkids. Bob was the kind of a guy, and I know that you'll relate to this, Bob was the kind of a guy that was on the exterior, if you didn't really know him, he came off as really gruff and brusque and a big bear until you got to know him. And then once you got to know him, you found out really quick that he'd do anything for you.
And, God, it's always that story, isn't it?
Yep, 21 years on the department.
It always seems like it's the really, really good guys. And it's just a tragedy, but it also highlights, I was talking to another police officer I know just before coming on the air who works locally, and we were talking about how the state of this nation has changed over the last few years from the perspective of law enforcement, how people are more likely to engage with firearms and use deadly force against peace officers, and the amount of violence that has risen against peace officers over the last few years is astronomical. And we're seeing these officers really who go out of their way and risk their lives, as I talked about earlier with Houston, for the better of their community and to do their job, which is put bad guys in jail and save lives. And the risk now to them is, you talk to any officer who's active as we speak, it's worse than it has ever been.
The past 8 years have done the level best to help corrupt whatever respect for authority there was. I have so many things that I could say. I'm not going to say them here. I'm going to save that for tomorrow.
Okay.
I am going to cork off, but in a couple of ways that people would not suspect. I was speaking to some other folks about the incident, what happened. I need a little time to process this. But I can tell you, it is a distinct result of the condemnation of violence that has occurred tacitly and overtly over the past 8 years.
Yes.
And more.
I agree wholeheartedly. And as we
and you're seeing the results.
Yeah, and it's a tragic result. You also have in California Prop 47 that got passed. You had the other one there. I can't remember what proposition it was.
Prop 57.
57.
Then you had AB 109.
AB 109, and that's the one I was thinking of, AB 109.
AB 109 was realignment where it took offenders because of a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
It took offenders from the state of California and moved them into county jails who were no more prepared to house and incarcerate people of a serious level like that than they were the man in the moon.
And I want to reiterate, they're taking them from a state prison where they're there for felonies, and they're moving them to county jails, flooding the county jails, who is not prepared for the influx of the people.
County jails are not Pelican Bay.
Right. They're not
They're
designed
not
for
Terminal Island. They don't have the money
or the resources.
Or the resources for that.
Yes.
They're used to the standard, if you do a felony, 1 year or more, you go to the state prison.
Right.
A year or below, you go to the county.
Right.
That's all out the door.
And because of a stinking lawsuit.
Well, and you've got people with criminal sophistications to the point that we know that we have people who did time in Pelican Bay for killing others, killing guards, killing peace officers. That can no longer be considered in their classification. Now, instead of being placed in a state facility for incarceration, you are finding those people now mixed in GP of that kind of criminal sophistication and gang affiliation with people that are doing time for drunk driving.
Yep. Right next to each other. And white-collar crimes, silly white-collar crimes and things like that. That's the part that's absolutely astounding. So California, and the other thing too is, if you were on parole and it was for a nonviolent offense, you get pushed over to what they call PRCS.
I'll tell you this, there is no such thing as parole anymore in the state of California. There is a flash incarceration, and that usually occurs with, if you violate parole in the state of California, it's a flash incarceration, and your parole agent lays a piece of paper on the county, and you do 10 to 20 days.
Yes.
And that's it. Unless the crime is so terribly heinous that essentially you've caught a fresh arrest.
Right.
And then if that occurs, then you're processed in a different fashion.
And so you have that, and then the reclassification of violent offenders to nonviolent offenders. What they don't tell you during that reclassification on the Prop 57 was that specific crime that they're doing time for at that period was a nonviolent, but it has nothing to do with their criminal history or threat to community. All of these things, on top of what has affected us nationally, has led to incidents like today.
Prop 57, folks, do you realize that in the state of California, you can be a rapist and that's not considered a violent felony?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is absolutely.
Some cases of manslaughter.
Nonviolent felony.
That's a nonviolent felony. And the reason for that is to get those stats off the books.
Yep. And that's all it is.
And to ensure that those people don't go to state facilities.
It's all about making them feel good.
They go to county
It's
facilities.
all about making them feel good. Story that I was tagged in literally just before I went on the air. A buddy of mine, Nick, who's always very, very good at things like this, and he knows that it drives me crazy, so he tags me in it as often as possible. The city of Sacramento last night approved this whole pay a felon program. You've heard about programs like this throughout the country starting to pop up. The city of Sacramento, who has gone out of their way to excuse crime and bad behavior, tie the hands of their law enforcement officer, throw their law enforcement officers under the bus as much as humanly possible, has once again gone the extra mile of stupidity. And they've started the Advanced Peace Program. That sounds wonderful, BZ, does it not?
Of course, particularly in light of the consideration that the same sheriff's department that just lost a deputy today is the same sheriff's department that's what? That's right, removing shotguns from the vehicles of the cars and replacing them with what? Beanbag shotguns.
Well, yeah.
Less than lethal force. Because we're a kinder, gentler department.
Well, let me tell you how kinder and gentler Sacramento City is.
And they're going to that too because they thought.
Well, this is the city council. I want you to hear this program.
This is a great idea.
This is an amazing program. You're going to love this program.
I will love it.
By the way, this comes from the liberal petri dish of Sacramento, California. I say that all the time. It's doing its damn best to be like San Francisco. So the news, and this is from local Fox 40, after a violent weekend of suspected gang-related shootings, Tuesday, the Sacramento City Council took action to reduce the bloodshed. More cops, right?
Oh, that's a great
Stricter
idea.
penalties? Let's do it. If approved, the controversial program called Advanced Peace will offer cash stipends to gang members who remain peaceful. I will repeat what I just fucking said. The city of Sacramento wants to pay gang members who remain peaceful. I want that to soak into people's brains.
Wait. I'm going to make an analogy here, and you tell me if I'm just crazy.
Okay.
And I've lost it, and I'm off the rails.
Okay.
Let's say Guido walks in to your store on the corner, and Guido says, you know, for $3,000 a month, I'll make sure that your windows don't get broken, and your nose doesn't get broken.
Sounds like a plan to me.
And your customers can come in.
Sounds like a plan to me.
And then you start paying Guido to make sure that that doesn't happen, because otherwise you feel, well, Guido might hurt me, or my customers, or my
somebody
family.
I love.
Yeah. So how is that different?
It is no different. The report goes on to say this program is already in use in Richmond, California, is being considered in Stockton. Some believe it helps curb crime. The vote came last night as a vigil for the latest victim in gun violence in South Sacramento. God. Okay. The homicide prompted Steinberg to push up Mayor Steinberg the controversial advance program by 2 weeks. Let's do everything we can to save innocent lives. They're going to pay up to $1.5 million out of the city's general fund to help pay these assholes to not be assholes. Ladies and gentlemen, you walk down the street every single day, and 99.9% of you don't fucking hurt somebody. Is the city going to pay you? No. These people, gang members, make these horrible decisions to join gangs. I don't care how they end up there. You're a human being. You make your choices in life. You end up in a gang because you're an asshole. And now the city wants to pay you for being an asshole, but on a lesser scale. This is what this fucking country has come to. It's gone off the rails so fucking bad.
You want to hear the beauty
cities
of it?
are paying assholes to not be assholes.
But here's the beauty of it. Here's how it gets even better than that. One of the reasons that people choose gangs is because it gives them a sense of family and belonging. But wait! In 1964, 1965, and 1966, the federal government started paying people to tear their families apart.
Yes.
So now we have, woohoo, full circle. Isn't this a great damn country?
They enter a contract with these idiots. A contract with these idiots. $1.5 million. Folks, as a small business owner in the state of California, I could not walk into a bank and get a loan with a ridiculous interest rate right now. But the city of Sacramento will pay these assholes to not be assholes. This is beyond any stupid... You want to talk about a waste of government money? Because here's the thing. First of all...
It's so over the top.
$1.5 million a year. How many more police officers could that put on the street? 5?
Oh, hell no. You could put more than that.
15?
And vehicles.
Right?
And equipment.
Flood the area that the crime is happening in with these new officers. Why are we rewarding shitty-ass behavior?
No. That's oppressive. To put more cops on the beat.
Why are we rewarding shitty behavior?
Because everyone knows it works.
I just can't
There's
understand
all sorts of
this.
studies proving that if you pay criminals not to commit crimes, it works. I mean, we have all these gun laws.
Right.
Criminals are obeying each and every gun law on the books.
Non-stop. They can't help themselves,
because it's
can
a
they?
law.
They cannot help themselves but be good.
That's right.
And we know that. We've seen that in full force. The more laws we pass, the better it is for everybody.
Everyone.
Folks, this is what liberals do. Instead of making the decision that could actually better the community, they make decisions that gets them re-elected. We see this with Democrats and illegal immigrants. Now we're seeing this with Democrats in certain cities and gang members. Because it's not just the gang member who's going to love this. It's everybody around them who's like, oh, you know what? That was Frank. Frank was a shitbag, but at least now he's getting paid money and he can bring beer to the party. Let's start voting these people in.
Well, that is a great damn idea, isn't it, then?
Well, but that's what they're doing. They're just buying the votes. You know, it's amazing. I saw, and like I said, I know I won't get political about Houston, but one of the things that I saw is one of these asshole magazines, it might have been Vogue or Salon or one of these other ones, who said, the flood disproportionately affected black people in Houston. And I said to myself, what?
Now, apparently you didn't see the other article prior to that because there are videos on YouTube and articles indicate. Well, there's one video on YouTube where you can clearly see there are a couple of families on this street, and there's a couple of black families over here on the right, and a couple of Caucasoids over on the left. And I'll tell you what, those floodwaters went right over to the black family.
But it's the same thing with the crime in the South area in Sacramento, right?
Damn those waters!
You're saying it's disproportionate to these hood rats. And the ridiculous part of it is they need another chance, and we have to pay them. How about this? Use the criminal justice system the way it's designed. You put enough cops out there, you arrest people for doing bad things. You used to get a gang enhancement in California if you committed certain crimes and you were a gang member. You'd do additional time. Now it comes with its own friggin' retirement program. You're paying them to be gang members.
You're so wrong. Just because it's worked in the past when you apply more police officers,
they're city employees,
and that it works.
How soon? BZ,
you are
how
just
soon
not
till one of these
properly.
idiot gang members turns around and says, no, wait a minute, you're paying me. The city of Sacramento is paying me. So I'm an employee of the city of Sacramento. You now owe me benefits and a vacation from being a gang member.
Don't think
it's going to happen.
In this state, it couldn't happen.
It will happen. I would absolutely I will bet you the last 5 inches of Clint's nose that it will happen.
They're going to have to be contractors. They'll probably be given 1040 short forms, and they have rights. They will have employee rights, and then if you want to get them off the program, no, they will have employee rights, and they'll be covered under SEIU.
Yes, they'll be union members too.
Won't that be grand?
This is. I can.
And as you and I take this further and further and further,
it's not ridiculous,
and suggesting that yes, they could be unionized, and yes, SEIU could represent them. You and I both know that's not entirely impossible.
No, because it's in California. It'll go to the Ninth Circuit Court. If it makes it that far, it'll be appealed in Sacramento to the state Supreme Court if denied, and then to the Ninth Circuit. It is quite possible that these people will end up suing for benefits and back pay. It is amazing to me. We're paying these a-holes. We're paying criminals to be less criminal.
We're paying first. We're
because
paying
it's
their
only
families.
We're only paying them not to be violent,
not to keep them nuclear, and then when we're seeing the results, we're paying them not to commit crimes. America, baby, America.
Yes, that's the part that kills me. We're gonna actually. Oh God, I can't even. I can't even.
You and I both know this is not without the realm of possibility. Just because, and this is the point, if we thought of it,
well, they already have.
The Bill Mill over there
already
can think of it.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, even if one of those idiots can't think of it, there's going to be a lawyer who can. A shameless.
Fornicalia wants to criminalize misgendering people.
Yes, we talked about that last Wednesday.
Now
we talked about it last Wednesday.
A felony theft now has been kicked up to $800.
Oh, wait.
So
hold on.
We've decriminalized that. Now we're going to criminalize misgendering someone.
Jersey Joe just had an amazing point. If they commit a crime while being paid, is the city responsible for the crime that they commit? So, if you are, say, a firefighter in the city of Sacramento and you commit a crime, say, indecent assault on a patient, which happened just recently, the patient is not only suing the individual, criminal charges will be brought, but they will also sue the city's fire department and most likely get paid out.
Yes.
So now, if you're a gang member and you committed a crime,
you did it under the auspices of the city of Sacramento, did you not?
You became an agent of the city. And now the victim you commit a crime against can sue the city of Sacramento for its employee that committed said crime.
They're a paid employee.
And they're also, this is only for violent crimes, folks. So if they're out there dealing drugs, they're still getting paid. If they're out there running guns, they're still getting paid. Stealing cars, still getting paid.
Committing fraud,
still
writing
getting paid.
checks,
Yep.
credit
still
cards,
getting paid.
EBT cards, no problem.
There's no end to this. And this is how, and like I said, it's not penny wise and pound foolish, which I wish I could say it was. They're buying the votes of the people in that area. Oh, Mary just brought up a good point too. Also, certain types of rape now that are considered nonviolent in California can be committed by these gang members. And they'll still get paid.
Well, because they're not violent felonies. Come on.
BZ, it's almost like, you ever read Superman growing up and there's Bizarro Superman? I feel like we live in Bizarro world.
Yes, it is. It's when you can think of the most strange dystopian future, all you have to do is look no further than California.
Yes.
Which is why I so desperately want to get the hell out of this state.
That should be our city motto. And Joe, I'm going to steal some of this from Jersey Joe, who's in our chat at shrmedia.com. Welcome to Sacramento, where crime actually pays. If I was the police union, the first time one of these paid gang members attacks me and hurts one of my officers, I would go balls deep into the mayor and the city council with a lawsuit for passing this jackassery, because you're paying these people who are criminals.
The sad thing is everyone's focusing on white supremacists and those nice Antifa people that are only defending the good people.
Hey.
And this shite is going completely
under the radar,
over their heads.
I say it all the time. California is the liberal petri dish of dystopia and insanity. By the way, how many people, I put this on my Facebook as a rhetorical question, how many people does Antifa have to beat before people understand that they're for peace?
Right. How many disabled veterans, like the video that I saw today, do they have to beat before they realize,
right,
they're just beating him for peace?
They're beating for peace. That should be their motto. We are Antifa. We
beat for peace.
We beat for peace. Folks, we're up against a break here on the Sackheads Radio Show. When we come back, we'll open up the phones, 916-282-9806. We also have some other topics that we will get to right here on the Sackheads Radio Show. We'll be right back.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cow for the stupid club.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific from me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bringing any child who comes across the border, we have to take them in.
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to the Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
We are back with coverage of Election Night in America 2014 with SHR Media and Pundit Press.
Everybody confused?
You know, I have to ask you, since you brought that up, who won, by the way? No one has told me.
Who won what? What is wrong with me? I'm telling you, man. I don't even know. Some weeks I don't even know anymore if I can hold it together.
If people knew half the shite that was going on in your life right now, everyone would say, wow, why are you not in a straitjacket in some rubber room somewhere?
Oh, man. Speaking of, I do want to, I know there's been like a really rough first hour, like we've been really serious, and that's not like us. But I want to take a moment and just a lot of people who follow me on Facebook, Sackhead Sean, know this, but I definitely want to share with everyone else. I finalized the adoption with my daughter on Friday.
Saw that on Facebook, and I said, congratulations. That was a wonderful, wonderful thing.
It was absolutely amazing. She's been with us for 3 years, and we were finally able to finalize this last Friday. Leah
Elizabeth. Was a great photo of you guys with the judge.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was wonderful, and it is a moment that I will remember for the rest of my life, and it's a moment that I'm truly thankful for. She's been through so much, and as time goes on, I'll tell her story probably a little bit more. This week's not the time, because I do want to just bask in the glory of her adoption.
Yeah.
And
enjoy it while you can.
And enjoy it while I can, yeah. She's such a tough little girl, and she really, really kicked ass, as she always does. And I'm just really proud of her, and she's pretty amazing. So, Leah Elizabeth, Daddy loves you very, very much, and I'm completely honored to be her dad.
And to say that I think she's been through a really tough time, I think that's an understatement.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't end, right? Because she's still stuck with me as a father. I mean, really.
Well, yeah, and there is that. There is that.
I mean, really, the poor thing. Gosh, I try, but I'm still me. And that's the thing that most people don't understand. What you see on the show, this is me 24/7, folks. I don't put on the game face, really. This is just me. You know me. A lot of people who know me personally know that this is me. I have a couple of different modes, but most of all, this is me. So, yeah, she and my son James are both stuck with me forever, and yeah, good luck to them. They'll probably write a book, and I wouldn't blame them. Oh man!
Yeah, My Life with Sean.
Oh yeah,
by Elizabeth X.
Oh man. 916-282-9806. You know, we will open up the phone lines.
Carrie Baxter Donovan said she wanted to call
First
in.
come, first serve. I'm going to make sure that all of our settings are in the right place. And I just ask that you keep it relatively short, please. And not because I'm a jerk, but I just in case other people want to come in. You know what I mean? Other people may want to ring in. So 916-282-9806. Phone lines are now open. BZ, sir, and I know we'll get a few calls here, so I won't get too deep into... Here's the funniest part. I whoever this person is, I'm going to apologize really quick.
Funny weird or funny haha?
Funny haha. I am going to call them back, and I have their number, and I can do this. I'm going to call them back in about 8 seconds. And the reason I'm going to do that, BZ, is because I answered incorrectly, and the good people of YouTube would not have been able to hear them. So we're going to do that right now. I'm calling them back, in theory. And it's ringing, in theory.
That's the... Yeah, that was a big problem with me on YouTube until you helped me solve that problem.
And I do my best. I do my best to help everybody because I'm a helper, BZ. You know
you are Helpy Helperton.
I am the helpiest of Helperton that I can possibly help. And, yeah, let's see here if it actually works. Can you hear us? I do my best to help everybody. And the answer is obviously no. Why aren't you hearing us? Hello?
I can hear them.
Hello? Oh, hi. Hi. You're live on the air with the Star Kids Radio Show. Hello?
Go ahead and speak, monsieur.
BZ, is this you again? Are you messing with me
yet
again?
No.
Are you
My
sure?
phone is right here.
Okay. Because you did that to me once before.
I did do that one time. Yes, I did do that. But you could look at the screen right here, and you can see it's blank. So, no, it's not me.
Yeah.
But fear not, I had a problem trying to get Dan Butcher in last night.
Yeah.
As well.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
And sometimes I think it's the manna. I think it was Dan's phone, oddly enough, last night, because you and I have wired the phone thing down.
Right.
Pretty well. We've nailed that down.
Yeah.
Shall I reveal the secret that's coming, by the way? While this person considers coming in?
Yeah, well, and give me a minute to make sure that I am fixing said incidents.
We have a mixing board for the radio station.
Yes.
That's it was really great in 1946.
Right.
And it was really great at recording music and dance sessions and not really made for radio. And certainly not crafted to take phone calls, not crafted with anything Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, etc. Nothing like that. Well, we have on order a new state-of-the-art board.
For the
studio.
As state-of-the-art as you could possibly
Where it's
get.
going to be running off of Bluetooth. We can take phone calls over any telephone. We're not going to be running through Skype anymore. And as soon as that comes in, it's going to be grand. And it looks like it's going to be about half as complicated as that thing.
Well, and we will still have the Skype option, which is nice, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we will still be able to use Skype for the people that like to Skype only, and there are those people out there. I believe now, and I could be wrong, but I believe that I have the issue figured out. So if, let me see if I can make that call back. And I'm working on it. And there we go. It's ringing.
Who said one ringy dingy, two ringy dingies?
Lily Tomlin.
Yes, there you go.
Lily Tomlin. Mike, I'll give you a couple minutes, sir. You're on the air.
You know, you were talking about the flood earlier, and this is how bad things were with the prediction of where the storm was going, you know, in terms of, you know, what would have happened if the predictions of the storm going out to sea, then making sort of a left turn and headed up to New Orleans, especially with the fact that, well, the whole controversy in New Orleans right now is the whole pumping station issue with Mitch Landry and stuff, you know?
Yep.
And that's, you know, and that would have been as bad as, not quite as bad, but close to it, because Mitch Landry is an idiot.
I'll agree to that. Well, and you know what, Mike, you know, a couple things to point out about that. I mean, that's a possibility, right? This whole thing could have been a possibility, but that's how it is with these storms, right? If they go one way or another, sometimes you have tragedy, and sometimes you have absolute nothingness, you know. But again, you have a city like New Orleans, who after Katrina, levees and pumps should never be an issue. That's almost like a no-brainer, right? It should be something that's handled immediately and fixed without a problem, because, I don't know, when you build a city that is under sea level, right up against the ocean, and you have berms and piles of dirt that is protecting the millions of citizens from said ocean, you also may want to make sure that your pumps are working.
See, and I have a funny question about that, too, that I probably should be damned for even thinking about asking. But I'm going to ask.
BZ, we would never damn you for asking.
I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
Didn't New Orleans and Louisiana get millions and millions and millions of federal dollars to help rebuild all of that infrastructure?
They absolutely did get a lot of money to rebuild all that infrastructure.
Well, wait.
They spent it on a sump pump.
Where did it go?
Oh, that's a question. That's a question that we'll know once Landry's out of office and we get somebody into the books there. Mike, thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it.
Gotcha.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, listen, we know for sure that they got all of that money, and they didn't do the right thing with it, as always, because Democrats run that city.
Well, wait a minute. I have another question.
Yes.
Baltimore in 1963 had amazing riots. Do you know that after the money that was sent to Baltimore, there are still sections of Baltimore that are completely unbuilt?
Oh, yeah.
Since the riots of the 60s.
Destroyed. Oh, yeah.
What the hell?
Never mind the riots of last year. 916-282-9806.
Carrie Baxter Donovan, call in. I want to hear your story about the soldier.
And anybody, yeah, absolutely. Carrie. And
Mary Brockman.
I know guest FF17 said that they were going to call in. They asked a question about the NFL, but if they wanted to voice it, that'd be fine. You know, when you talk about New Orleans, it's almost like Chicago, right? Where you have all these Democrats running it. The city gets run into the ground, and they want to blame the federal government. And to me, it's absolutely just another sign of what happens when you let the feds run everything. You're on the air with the Sackheads radio show. Where are you calling from?
This is Carrie, and I'm calling from Raleigh.
Oh, yes, it is, Carrie. Miss Donovan, ma'am, how are you this evening?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
We're doing wonderful. You had a story about a soldier, I believe.
Well, yeah, it's actually Lieutenant Colonel Ray Shrump, and I got to interview him again last week, and I'm so excited. I am bursting to tell you. It's a long story, but I'm going to make it short.
Okay.
So, because that could go on for hours, and maybe BZ will invite me to talk about it, because we like to talk about things for a long time. But hey, I got to interview Ray Shrump, and he was held in captivity longer than John McCain. Mm-hmm. So he's a POW, and he has like every imaginable award that you can, I don't know, you can probably name one and all, he's got it. And he's here in Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. So I go out and visit him, and this time I got to really sit down and talk to him about some things. And I just have made it a little bit of a mission to tell people, to like help them understand what these POWs, what service members, like, you know, you were talking about earlier today, what they go through, what they went through. And so I made a little video and I put it up on my YouTube channel. But I had like 2 hours of interview with him. But
that's amazing.
Mostly, yeah, and he's an amazing man. And so he spoke at the 1976 Republican convention. He was telling me a story about how he made Nancy Reagan cry. And I'll tell you that story and then I'll get off. He, in captivity, somebody had made a prayer out of a bone of an animal.
Yes.
A prayer, like a little cross or something that they would pass around and they would pray over. And it had like a number of notches or something for years, and this famous story. And he ended up giving it to Nancy Reagan, and she cried.
Of course.
And he was relaying the story to me, crying, because Ronald Reagan is crying, Nancy Reagan is crying, and he's crying. They're all crying over this, little medallion that he had presented to Nancy, and she like treasured it for a very long time. So that's what kind of history he has, and he's still around, he's still kicking, and he just still loves America. So that's what I wanted to tell you, that there's great Americans out there still.
Well, and
my little mission.
I know you and I have talked about the idea of that before, and stories like that this country really needs to hear. And Mike Rowe, who is nothing short of amazing in my humble opinion, is creating a Facebook show that's going to be highlighting Americans and different stories.
Yep. And all the good things they do.
Yep, and I think that's amazing. And Carrie, you've been doing it in your own way for a long time now. You've been doing everything you can to try to get these people and their stories out, especially Lieutenant Colonel Schrump. I know that's a story that's near and dear to your heart, and you've done some great work with him. And he's been so gracious with his time and stories with you that it's truly amazing, and I greatly appreciate it.
Well, thanks for letting me tell it, and I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much,
So
Carrie.
that's my story.
And you're sticking to it.
Have a great night.
You too.
By the way, I see that
Take
guy
care,
he was a prisoner of war for 5 years,
Yes.
from 68 to 73. He has 2 Silver Stars, a Legion of Merit, a Purple Heart. This guy has awards like crazy. So God bless him.
Yeah, no, he's truly an amazing human being. And Carrie actually told me a story about him a long time ago, the first interview, and I heard it. And to hear him talk, and you want to talk about a guy who is just amazing in telling his stories and getting you gripped into it. It's not just the story, it's the presentation of the man. That's astounding. 916-282-9806.
I would love to bring a guy over here, but unfortunately he charges for his speeches. But I don't know if he'll do it. There's a guy in Chico who was a sled driver, and that's an SR-71 pilot.
Yes.
And his name is Brian Schull.
Yes.
And Brian has, he's a photographer. He's got a studio in Chico. Somehow I'd like to see if I could contact him and sit down and discuss his situation. His entire life story is absolutely astounding. Now, to tell people just a little bit about that while others decide whether or not they're going to call in, 916-282-9806. While we're waiting for that, Brian Schull was a pilot in the Air Force, had a crash, and was burned over about 50 to 60% of his body. He came back from that. It took him a year. He became a pilot again, but he became such an incredible, respected pilot that he was chosen for the SR-71 program, which, by all intents and purposes, was one of the most difficult planes to fly in the U.S. inventory at the time. And it was a dangerous, dangerous plane. It was also one of the fastest planes ever manufactured in the United States Air Force inventory, and was manufactured by the Lockheed Martin, well, actually at the time it was Lockheed, the Lockheed Skunk Works, under Clarence Kelly, who was, sometimes I think that Clarence Kelly was an alien, because he was so smart, so intelligent, made a great number of incredibly stellar aircraft, was responsible for the and the Lockheed Skunk Works was involved in that. In any event, Brian Scholl was a sled driver and has an astounding life story to tell. And all these people that we could talk to and listen to, we need to have people like this because we need to realize Jersey Joe's going away. Good night, Jersey Joe. But we need to put things in perspective. And sometimes we need to talk to other people and see other situations to realize just truly how well and how blessed, though, each and every one of us are.
Mm-hmm. I agree wholeheartedly. And there's a lot of people.
And that story from Kerry, that's just one in hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands that we need to see. That there is good in this nation. There is good on this planet. And I admit, I'm the first to admit, I get wrapped up in politics. I'm a political whore. And granted, bingo, got me, guilty.
Yeah, you are.
But I also need to back up. And this is one of those days where I for a time was thinking, how can we get out of this? This is so terrible. And you just need to take a step back and regroup.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if you listen to nothing but negative stuff all the time,
you're just going to be caught into it. And it's going to be...
Life is more than politics. Oh, my God, you heard it here first. BZ actually admitted
BZ?
That there's more
Did
to
you
life.
just say that, BZ?
There's more to life than politics.
916-282-9806 if you want to call in. That's the phone number, 916-282-9806. More than politics. I cannot believe those words just came out of your mouth.
Yeah. Okay. You probably won't hear that again for a really long time.
So, BZ...
we got a ton of stuff up there. What are you going to
We do have a ton of stuff. I'm looking right now. I want to end the night with North Korea because I think that'll take the longest. We'll pick it up after the break. I do want to talk really quickly. We obviously talked about Antifa, this time down in Berkeley. The same thing that we've seen before out of the Berkeley PD, nothing. And people were beaten. I know I made the joke earlier about Antifa, how many people have to get beaten before you realize they're for peace. Listen, Antifa is still Antifa. Nothing has changed in the last week since the last time we talked about it. They are the brown shirts of the modern age. They are for an uber-left fascist group. They will say communists, whatever. They are all about using violence to get their way. They're about silencing anybody that opposes, either through violence or protest or other means. And they're assholes. And they are everything that's wrong with this country right now. Oh, God, it's absolutely insane to me.
I took the Berkeley PD to task last night already at length, which is one of the reasons that I went into a half-hour overtime. I had a 2.5-hour show last night.
You did last evening.
Because I got on a tear and kept on. Now there's information. Chief Greenwood of the city of Berkeley admitted this past weekend, the people of Patriot Prayer went to Berkeley, if for no other reason than to say that they could. They are a group of peace. They are First Amendment believers. They are not white supremacists.
Right.
They hate all that white supremacy stands for, and they're all about peace.
Yes.
And they were not allowed. As a matter of fact, they were abjectly beaten.
Yes.
Then they were pepper sprayed. Then they were handcuffed by Berkeley PD and moved away. Then they were released by Berkeley PD. Chief Greenwood said that the reason that he didn't move his people in is because he was afraid there was going to be more violence.
Right. Well, nothing does a crowd like a crowd.
It's an if-then situation. And we knew it already before. The first riots, the Milo Yiannopoulos riots, we knew. Any good right-thinking individual knew that there was collusion between the mayor of the city of Berkeley Arreguin, Jesse Arreguin, who is a by any means necessary sympathizer, which means he's Antifa, called the chief of police in the city of Berkeley and the chief of police in the UCDPD system and made sure that those elements of law enforcement pulled away any thin situation. He admitted it from this weekend, so we know for a fact that's exactly what happened the last time in those riots. Property destroyed, things burned, people hurt, cops stand back.
Yes. And that's
then I also pointed out this. You love Boston. You're from Boston. Hey, what happened at those Boston riots about a week and a half ago?
Boston PD moved in swiftly.
Yeah, not much. That's what a professional law enforcement department looks like when they handle a situation like that.
And there was some violence. There was no violence whatsoever would be exaggeration.
No, but they handled it. They did their jobs.
Yep, they separated. We talked about it last week. They actually brought in their paddy wagons. I know I'm not supposed to use that term, but their prisoner transport wagons. But they did it to protect the individuals who were there with a permit and having a protest, if you will, for free speech. And they did it the right way, and they took care of the people. Now, I nailed Mayor Marty Walsh for saying that the group that organized the rally was neo-Nazis, blah 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 blah. But I did give him credit because even though he said I don't like them, we still issued the permit because of free speech, and they did cancel the permit early, but they did so because the crowd around them was getting so much they were not sure if they were going to be able to protect them. So, yeah, you know what it's not perfect, but they handled it well. Unlike Berkeley, and I gotta give credit to the Phoenix Police Department when the president was speaking there and Antifa showed up.
Oh no, okay, good point. I had forgotten about that. You make a good point on that
because they absolutely did what they needed to do to maintain peace there as well, and I really was happy that they did not back off because I wasn't sure what we were going to get in Phoenix. I want to go back. There was a question asked, and I know we have a couple minutes, really quick. There was a question asked from guest FF17, who I may know who that is, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, you're better than me.
Watching the NFL, and this goes to our listeners as well, this year.
Right.
Will you watch the NFL, yes or no?
I know my answer.
Your answer is no.
Fuck the NFL.
The NFL is an organization I obviously have severe issues with.
They don't want to let the Dallas Cowboys put little bitty stars on their uniforms in honor of the 5 officers slain in Dallas last year, and Goodell says no.
So your answer is no.
And they can't wear shoes that honor 9/11.
Yes.
And Goodell says no.
However, he will meet the NAACP and discuss why Colin Kaepernick is being treated poorly. So, all right, they want to push it in the chat room. What if Tom Brady took a knee? Just curious. I would judge that when it happened. If he did take a knee, I would be completely offended and insulted and aggravated. I would think it would be disgusting.
Easy answer for me. I hate the Patriots.
I know. Well, that's because you have no taste in football. You have no taste whatsoever.
The Packers are my dudes.
So I will give organizations like the Cowboys, the Patriots, and some other ones credit because the owners of those organizations and the coaches have come straight out and said, hey, if you do any of that kneeling shit, you'll find another team to play for.
Can you think, and I know we're past the break, can you think, rhetorical question, of another organization other than the NFL or sports in general that is more egalitarian in its racial makeup?
No.
I cannot.
No. Hockey. No, wait. No. I can't think. Honestly, I would have to. Baseball might be close.
I put basketball right up there. Not so sure about baseball. But
I
the
think
NFL,
baseball's pretty close.
You cannot say that they haven't gone out of the way to hire people that are good players.
Well,
and most of them are black.
Well, and as we talked about last week, I think I forget whose site I quoted, but I quoted from a site. It said the 10% of the top 10% paid in the NFL. I think 94% of that 10% is black, and that if you even step foot on the field as an NFL player, you make more than 3 times the national poverty level. Just to step on that field, you could be a wedge breaker, play 1 round, 1 game, 1 series.
Oh yeah, you can be the worst dude on special teams that's hired.
But you're going to sit there and tell other people how life is horrible in the NFL. Unbelievable. We're up against a break. When we come back, we will get into North Korea. Well, maybe we will.
So to speak.
So to speak. All that and more on the Sack Kids Radio Show live in the SHR Media Network. Stick around. Damn it.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Catholic, stupid.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all of the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border we got to take them in.
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to the Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
We are back with coverage of election night in America.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackhead Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Oh, yeah. Fire him. Fire the engineer, fire the producer, fire this sumbitch right here sitting in the chair, please.
Like I used to say on my show a couple of times, God, I wish I had a producer.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait, I do have one, and he's
Dude.
crap.
Yeah, he sucks at this really bad.
He's terrible.
He's horrible. Oy vey.
Good night, Mary Brockman.
Good night, Mary Brockman, wherever you are. Yeah. So, Riddle Kim decided to fire another missile. I believe he shot his dong again. Alright, apparently I was wrong. He didn't shoot himself a dong, he shot a dong missile, we believe it was. Either way, it went over. God.
It went over the island of Hokkaido, Japan.
Yeah, it went over northern Japan.
And I
landed
tell
in the
you what,
ocean on the other
the
side.
laundry bill from Monday was
Ridiculous.
terrific.
Ridiculous. God. He's escalating yet again. Look it. This wasn't just... unless their technology was so shitty, it misfired over the sea, and instead of going into the Sea of Japan, it overshot Japan. I don't believe that was the case.
No.
It went 341 miles up. I forget what the exact horizontal distance was. And BZ, you might be able to grab that for me. But I did some math on it when I first got the numbers, and certainly able to reach Guam, certainly able to get relatively close to the West Coast.
They said it went 1,700 miles away,
Yes.
directly over the island of Hokkaido, in what they called a more realistic test. Instead of a straight up, straight down shoot, it was more of an angle, which is what you would get if someone is firing a ballistic missile at you at a distance.
And then, so it was 341 miles up, I believe.
Yes, it went out of the atmosphere and returned back in.
Right, 1,700 miles. Now you take some of that distance off, or you take some of that height off and add to distance. It also shows that it can re-enter on some level. It also can show that it is ICBM worthy. There's a lot of things that were scary about this. The people in the government in northern Japan were warning people to take cover. There were announcements being made because of it. It was not shot down. I do not understand why. Now,
there's a bit of a reason. Well, we know that South Korea's president refused some of the missile systems that we offered them. They accepted 2 and told like 3 other systems just go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that Japan has their own system as well. Sooner or later, though, and I did the ifs and whens and whatnot on my show last night, sooner or later you're going to have to do something.
Right.
Because one day, what a lot of people don't understand is that before there's a missile test, North Korea calls someone in the United States and lets them know that there's a test impending, that there's a missile about to fire. Because if they didn't do that, guess what? Holy hell would rain down upon North Korea. That's called a clue. The day that you see a missile and they haven't given you a phone call, that's the time to take things seriously. What I suggested was this. The next missile test. Now, we've had 1 failure, perhaps 2 failures, and the rest have all been successes at shooting down missiles.
And there was another one done just earlier today.
Yes.
Out of Hawaii.
My suggestion is the next missile that comes up, the very next, shoot it down.
Oh, yeah.
My suggestion also is this. Discover, I'm sure they already know, where all the North Korean satellites are. Shoot down a satellite or 2 from North Korea. Now, we can't take them anymore. We used to have the capability by way of the space shuttles. You do know that one of the primary designs and reasons for the existence of the space shuttle was to open the roof at the top and steal satellites out of space.
Yes.
That was one of the primary reasons
That's
for
why
the existence of the space shuttle and why it had such wide doors at the top. Well, we no longer have that capability. But I also submit that some of those things need to go down.
Well, you know what? Hey, listen. We do have that capability, just the last administration chose to phase them out and not put a replacement in. So, it's not that we don't have that capability. We just elected to allow it to be phased out and not used. Funny when everyone talks.
Replacement.
Funny when everyone talks about NASA, they forget about that part of it. The whole purpose of the space shuttle program was really more to be part of Star Wars.
It was part of our national defense.
Which is why it was federalized and it wasn't a private organization. I'm not saying that private organizations for space travel shouldn't exist. I think that's fine. I love the entrepreneurship that we're seeing with some of these companies that are starting to get land missiles and rockets and all these other things. Like, I think it's awesome. I really do. But, why aren't we dealing with their satellites?
Nikki Haley had a very interesting quote. She said, no country should have missiles flying over them, like those 130 million people in Japan. It's unacceptable. Well, what's also unacceptable is this. That North Korea missile was what they consider to be a Hwasong-12. It's an intermediate-range ballistic missile that North Korea says is designed to carry a, quote, large nuclear warhead. Mm-hmm. So they launched it without warning, so says the article. The Japanese government sent a text alert to all of its people, and to take, just as you said, to take protective cover in case the test went wrong.
Right. So I think at some point somebody has to say hello to Riddle Kim.
If you're Abe in Japan, at what point do you say, I've had enough? 140 million people in a small island that can be eliminated like that in a flash by one missile.
Well, listen, if anybody right now, if anybody understands what could possibly happen, there's a great image of Kim Jong-il. It could also be his kid right now threw a pair of glasses on him that was just posted in our chat room at shrmedia.com. If any country understands what it's like to survive nuclear devastation, it is the people of Japan. I certainly would not blame anyone in the Japanese government if they took defensive action against these missiles for their own protection. Look, you could say what you want, and I know Clint has a problem with the Japanese government having certain offensive weapons, etc. We can go into that. I don't care who you are. It's almost like you have to, right?
No nation should live under the shadow of a nuclear threat from a rogue government.
Well, like I was saying, it's like conditioning almost.
Under a dictator that is absolutely unpredictable in his behavior.
Right.
The only predictable thing about it is that he's a loon and he's unpredictable.
And